Kuja mami. Hata nilikuona kitambo. Mungu aliongea na mimi utaomba leo.
Let us all stand up in honor of our Lord Jesus Christ. Father, in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you. We give you praise, honor, and glory. You are worthy of all our praise. There is no one else like unto you, Jehovah God. Father, we ask, God, Jehovah God, release your spirit up in this meeting, Jehovah God. Lead us by your wisdom, your knowledge, and understanding, Jehovah God. Let your spirit hover around this place, oh Jehovah God, Almighty Father. Bless our MD, Jehovah God. Give him utterances, Jehovah God, that will please this congregation, Jehovah God. Because many have toiled, many have gone around, Jehovah God, seeking the intervention of his word from his mouth, oh Jehovah God, Almighty Father. Lord, intervene, Jehovah God. Lead him, Jehovah God. Through your power of the Holy Spirit, speak through him, Jehovah God. Give him wisdom, give him knowledge, give him understanding. Let him speak of the things that people are awaiting, Jehovah Father. We thank you, Jehovah God. Many are on the way coming, and many, oh Jehovah God, oh my Father, are stuck outside there. Let them come in and join together with us together so that we can be able to understand the things that he says. In the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we believe and trust and pray.
Oi, iyo maombi nataka diu to travel, endo kaitu. My brother, Islam.
Kwa jina la Mwenyezi Mungu, mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu kila mambo mema. Mwenyezi Mungu, tuko hapa kwa sababu wewe ni mwema. Na kwa wema wako huno, mbele yetu kuna viongozi wetu. Viongozi hawa umewajalia wanaleta matumaini katika utendakazi wetu. Mwenyezi Mungu, hayo matumaini tulionayo, hebu yaongeze yawe kweli. Kiongozi wetu MD ambaye ni kapteni, muongezee hikma, muongezee busara na uzidi kumweka karibu na watu. Sijui akiondoka huyu, nani atakuwa karibu na watu? Kwa hivyo Mwenyezi Mungu, mkono wako tumeuona leo, kwa uwezo wako tuko hapa leo. Basi yale tunaotarajia Mwenyezi Mungu, jaribu yafike kwenye mioyo yetu. Sisi ni wepesi wa kuomba, lakini ni wachache wa kushukuru. Basi tutakapokuwa tumesahau, sababu sisi ni wanadamu, tukumbushe Mwenyezi Mungu tukushukuru. Twasema alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amen.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate the entire management of our pension, ikiongozwa na administrator Bwana Kibet. Makofi kwa Kibet. Kibet, since you came, we have seen a lot. There's a lot of changes in our pension. We are getting information at the right time. May God bless you. Let the team continue. Mr. Kibet, may you come and proceed with the program.
Thank you so much, our MC, Mr. Anges, the MD, KPA, Chairman, Board of Trustees, my Board of Trustees, distinguished members, good morning. I'm glad to stand before you this morning as we transact the business of our 12th annual general meeting since this scheme commenced in 2013. Secondly, is to appreciate all of you who've managed to register and take the bold step of getting into this auditorium to sit and listen to your trustees. Mujipigie makofi. I'm saying this because we have registered over 3,000 members as at now. but wale mkijihesabu hapa mko chini ya 100, si ndio? Si ni kweli? Yeah, so nyinyi ndio tunawashukuru kwa sababu mnachukulia maneno ya pension yenu kwa umakini zaidi. Ni nyinyi ndio mnatupa nguvu ili tuweze ama tuzidi kuwatumikia. So without far much ado, I would like to recognize the presence of our visitors, and that is the facilitators for today's meeting. So I have my service providers. Mr. Obiria, you can wave, is the auditor of the scheme, is here with us. Karibu sana. Quinta is the fund manager for the scheme. Paul Ngomba is our custodian from ICA. Karibu sana is our fund manager. Lewis from Zamara. Christopher from Kenindia Assurance. So Chair, those are service providers who are with us this morning, and also myself. I'm a service provider to the scheme. I'm your scheme administrator. Munipigie makofi basi. So I would want to welcome my chairman to introduce the trustees who are here both from the DB and the DC side. Welcome, Chairman.
Members, our Managing Director, KPA, fellow trustees, members, good morning. My name is Lucas Katema. I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the DC scheme. I am here with my team of trustees together with trustees from the DB scheme. I'd like to introduce them. From the far end, Mercy Kirui. She's an independent trustee, followed by Bwana Daniel Mugao. He's a director at KPA and a trustee, a member of the Board of Trustees. And Trustee Emma Okello. Trustee Dolores. And right behind them, Trustee Tower. That completes the trustees of the DC scheme. Trustees of the DP scheme who are here today with us. We have Trustee Susan Lely, popularly known as Mama Mlezi, and Trustee Violet Mugambi. I'd like to thank you profoundly, the way the administrator has said, that you have taken the bold step of being in this hall to listen, to interrogate the reports that will be shared to you. But I must point out it is very sad that we have more than 3,000 members who have registered and gone away. I don't know what that means. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'd forgotten to recognize the presence of our regulator, RBA. Mr. John Kerr, you can wave, yeah, from RBA. And I would also want to say that for the benefit of those members who have either left or they have not been able to attend, we have a link which we have shared so they can follow these conversations online. We have shared them to the mobile numbers so they can as well follow it from our YouTube page and Facebook page. So that the link is available. So Chair, now we will go straight to reading of the notice convening this meeting. And I will read, this is the notice of Kenya Post Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012. Notice is hereby given that the 12th Annual General Meeting of the Kenya Post Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012 will be held on Saturday, 27th June 2026 at 9 a.m. at Bandari Maritime Academy. All active and deferred members of KPA Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012, the DC scheme, are requested to attend the annual general meeting to transact the following business. 1. Reading of the notice and agenda. opening of the meeting and introductions, consideration and adoption of the minutes of the last AGM, reports by the Chair, Board of Trustees, report by the scheme sponsor as the Managing Director, KPA, presentation of the audited accounts for the year ended 31st December 2025 by the scheme auditor, presentation of the investment report by the scheme's fund managers, presentation by the custody report by the scheme's fund custodian, presentation of the structure of benefits by the scheme actuary, presentation of the retirement benefits industry changes by a representative from RBA. We members will be given an opportunity for questions and trustees will be able to respond. And then we have the vote of thanks. So that's the agenda for the day. We'll be very brief so that we're able to transact and close within the stipulated time. So I would like to have a proposer to the agenda. You can say your name.
Any proposer?
I propose. My name is Isaac Nyamosi.
Thank you, Mr. Nyamosi. A seconder.
My name is Wali Ismail. I second.
Thank you. That is Mr. Wali Ismail. So, Chair, with your permission, now we go to consideration of the minutes of the last AGM. And I would invite our Secretary, Mr. Aware, to take us through the minutes of the last AGM, after which we'll have a proposer and seconder, and then we move on to the next matter for the day. Welcome, Vincent.
Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the Managing Director, Kenya Ports Authority, trustees from both DB, DC scheme, esteemed members of the scheme, and all stakeholders, good morning. Allow me to read for you or take you through the minutes of the 11th Annual General Meeting of the Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012, which meeting was held on the 30th of November 2025 at the Bandari Maritime Academy in Mombasa. And I'll start. The meeting was called to order at approximately 9:26 a.m. and it commenced with a word of prayers from both Christian and Muslim faiths. On the preliminary, the quorum was confirmed and therefore the meeting was duly constituted to transact the business of the day. The Trust Secretary read the notice convening the meeting, and thereafter the agenda presented was adopted. The motion to adopt the agenda was moved by Member J. Mutere and seconded by J. Ogola. Thereafter, we were taken through the minutes of the 10th Annual General Meeting, which had been held on the 27th of November 2024. The minutes were also confirmed with a motion to confirm the minutes being proposed by Mr. J. Cheki and seconded by V. Gumo. Thereafter, we received opening remarks from the trustees, and after that, we moved straight ahead to the chairman's report. The chairman's report was presented by Trustee Emma Okello, who was standing in for the chairperson of the Board of Trustees, who could not attend the meeting because of other engagements. She began by conveying apologies from the chairperson and proceeded to deliver the report. A highlight of the report is as follows. With respect to the financial performance, it was reported that the scheme's net asset had increased from 21.14 billion in the year 2023 to 28.25 as of the end of year 2024, representing a growth of 33.6%. With respect to the investment performance and strategy, it was indicated that the scheme maintained a diversified and compliant investment portfolio, government securities constituting the largest proportion of assets as at that time. With respect to governance of compliance, It was confirmed that the scheme had complied with all applicable regulatory requirements. It was also highlighted that the Board of Trustees had done a board evaluation and scored a remarkable 84% during the year that ended. The members took note of the report. Thereafter, we received the report from the sponsor, and this report was presented by Dr. Sudi Mwasinago on behalf of the Managing Director, who had conveyed his apologies for not being able to attend the meeting because of other work engagements. The report began by appreciating all the members for their invaluable contribution to the growth and success of the authority over the years. It went ahead to provide commitment to member welfare, where the sponsor reaffirmed its commitment to the well-being of members, both during active service and even in retirement. On partnership and good governance, the sponsor noted the strength and stability of the stability of the scheme was anchored on the good partnership between the Board of Trustees, the sponsor, the administrator, the fund managers, and other service providers. The sponsor acknowledged the evolving regulatory environment, including the need for implementation of the data protection laws, and assured members of full compliance. Thereafter, we received the scheme's audited account for the financial year ended 31st December 2024. The report was presented by Ms. Evelyn Kanjagwa on behalf of Ronald's LLP, the scheme's auditors at that time. A highlight of the report revealed that as of the end of the year, the fund closed at 28.436 billion, being a growth from 21.143 in the previous year. It was reported that in the opinion of the auditors, the financial statement presented a true and fair view of the scheme's financial position as of 31st December 2024. After that, we received a report on behalf of the scheme's fund managers, where the meeting was informed that the fund managers are responsible for advising the trustees on appropriate investment opportunities across different asset classes, and examples given were fixed income, domestic and offshore equities, among others. The presenter briefed the meeting on the performance of the Kenyan economy, noting that the economy had remained resilient and recorded a gross domestic product growth rate of about 4.7. Members were informed that the Kenya shilling had appreciated by about 17.4% as against the US. From there, we received a presentation on the scheme's custodial report as of the year 31st December 2024. The meeting noted that as of 31st December, the scheme's asset held under custody amounted to 23.67 billion and were distributed across various classes, with cash being at 0.75%, deposits being at 0.02%, equities being at 13.7%, corporate bonds at about 0.1%, offshore investments at about 1.79%, with treasury bonds being at 83.63%. The report was received by the members. Thereafter, we received a presentation on the scheme's benefit structure from the scheme's actuary. The presentation was done by Mr. Lewis Rapando from Zamar. He began by stating the role of the actuary and moved straight ahead to give a highlight of the scheme structure. Thereafter, he also informed the members of the funding requirements and offered a distinction on the merits of both the DB and the DC scheme. He gave a highlight on the benefit access provisions, where the meeting was informed of the different benefits options available upon normal retirement, early retirement, or during ill health. Members were informed that members exiting before age of 50 may either transfer the value of their accrued benefits to another registered retirement benefit scheme or defer benefits to retirement age. With respect to death in service, it was reported that a life insurance benefit equivalent to 5 times the member's annual basic salary was payable. After that, we receive a presentation by the Retirement Benefits Authority. The presentation briefed the meeting on the recent developments affecting retirement benefit scheme, including the income drawdown funds. Then Mr. Muli took the members through their rights and obligations under the retirement benefits framework. The rights included, among others, receiving timely, accurate, and complete information, participating in scheme governance structures and annual general meetings, nomination of beneficiaries, among others. The authority confirmed that the scheme was compliant with the regulatory requirements, including timely filing of statutory returns, remittance of contributions, compliance with the investment guidelines, proper trustee composition and training, among other things. Thereafter, we moved to a session of question and answer. For ease of reporting, we've clustered the question beginning with investment, performance, and strategy. So there's a question where members sought clarifications on the decline in returns from treasury bills. It was explained that the returns was attributed to strategic reduction in allocation of the treasury bills and that the funds had been allocated to other asset classes, including treasury bonds, in line with the scheme's investment strategy aimed at optimizing results. On alternative investment, members inquired to know the alternative investment opportunities which were being considered by the scheme. It was explained that the scheme was exploring other alternative asset classes, including private equity investments, with reference being made to global investment managers such as BlackRock and Franklin Templeton. On the investment management fees, members sought clarification on how custodial and fund management fees were being handled. This was particularly in light of the fund growth, which was being contributed by the sponsor contributions. It was clarified that the fees for custodial and fund management are computed based on asset and management, which was in line with the standard market practice. Members queried for the reason for fluctuation in schemes' investment returns, and it was explained that returns are subject to prevailing economic and market conditions, which sometimes are outside the direct control of the scheme. Thereafter, there were questions on the governance, compliance, and administration, where members inquired on the scheme's compliance with the documentation required under the Bribery Act. The trustees noted the requirement and confirmed that steps had been taken to ensure compliance. On the internal audit arrangements, the members sought clarifications with respect to the scheme's internal auditor and the associated costs. It was clarified that the scheme does not have an internal audit function. Rather, the firm of PKF had been engaged to provide those services for during the period under review. On trustee term limits, members inquired when the 5-year trustee term would take effect and the allowable number of terms. It was explained that the 5-year trustee term would take effect upon the amendment of trust deed and rules, and that the number of permissible terms as prescribed by the amended trust deed. Then on participation and the AGM venue, there was a question on public participation and the decision to hold the AGM in Kisumu. This was in reference to the DB scheme AGM that had been held in Kisumu. But still, it was explained that even that decision was informed by proposal which had been given by the members from upcountry region advocating for rotational AGM to enhance inclusivity and participation across all regions. Now, in terms of member benefits and scheme rules, members inquired how contributions were being made prior to the enactment of the Retirement Benefits Act. It was clarified that during that period, the DB scheme was still operational, even before the enactment of the RBA Act. And therefore, all contributions made during that period remained fully accounted for, and no member benefits were lost. On IDD and annuity options, members sought clarifications between the two, and it was explained that these are retirement benefits options designed to provide structured post-retirement income, and members were encouraged to attend member education forum for further detailed explanations. Now, on legal and risk matters, members sought clarification on the fate of the scheme in the event of privatization of the Kenya Ports Authority. However, it was explained that the KPA is not undergoing privatization as of this time. However, in the unlikely event of such an occurrence, member funds would still be protected under the scheme's trust arrangements and the applicable law. On the Kikambala land case, members inquired whether the scheme had suffered any loss of funds as a result of the botched transaction. It was confirmed and assured that the scheme had recovered all amounts paid as deposit, together with accrued interest, and therefore suffered no loss. Members also queried the increase in trustee expenses and staff training, which increase was explained to have been attributed to enhanced training programs, capacity building initiatives, as well as the inflationary adjustments. On closing of the meeting, the trustees extended their sincere appreciation to all members, and there being no any other business, Trustee Emma Okello gave the vote of thanks, and the meeting was officially adjourned at 1:21 p.m., with members being advised that the next meeting would be communicated in due course. That would mark the end of the minutes for the 11th annual general meeting.
Makofi kwa wakili Vincent. Thank you. So we would like to have a proposer and a seconder for the minutes.
Yeah, who can propose for us?
Gina.
My name is Teddy Guyobuko. I propose.
Thank you, Stephen.
Seconder, Pandey.
My name is Simon Wachu, and I second.
Simon
Wachu.
Simon Wachu.
And I second.
Thank you. So the minutes of the last AGM stands adopted. Chair, you would allow me to recognize the presence of our trustee from the DB scheme who have joined us, Mr. Francis Suma. You can wave. We also have Trustee Ferdinand Malumbo, has also joined us. Yeah, so those are the people who are with us this morning. So I take it back to you, Bwana MC.
Thank you so much. The next, tutakuwa na peer educators. They have a very important message for us. And utacheka, unajua sometime ukicheka maisha inaendelea vizuri, si ndio? Peer educators, please, on the ground. Dr. Malumbo,
hii tabia yako mimi nakwambia lazima tuende paka ofisini.
Mume wangu bwana, wewe wanishangaza kila siku.
Unakushangaza nini?
Umegeuka sana wewe, umegeuka sana mume wangu.
Sasa ndageuka kwa upande gani? Wewe mimi nikikwambia kwamba kule watu tunajaza fomu, wewe wasema pesa gani?
Sinasikia kuna pesa kule bwana mume wangu, lakini wewe wanificha kwa nini?
Sikiza nikueleze mke wangu. Wajua wewe wapata matibabu mazuri?
Ndio napata matibabu, lakini pesa ndio nataka.
Kwani mimi sikupi pesa?
Mume wangu mimi sikuelewi, wajua siku hizi. Sikuelewi kabisa.
Zile fomu ambazo mimi nitakwenda kujaza kwa sababu ya matibabu yetu sisi, mke wangu.
Matibabu ya nini? Kwani si tuatibiwa na KPA?
Lazima uweke akiba ya matibabu pia, wewe mwenyewe pia uwekeze pale. Ukishawekeza pale itakuja tusaidia baadaye mimi na wewe. Lakini wewe unielewe mbona?
Si mimi nikiwa mgonjwa nalazwa pande na KPA wanalipa. Sasa unataka niwekeze wapi tena?
Zile pesa ambazo mimi natumia. Ni mimi nalipo milioni 3 na kampuni za matibabu. Zikimalizika tutakwenda wapi? Bila kuwekeza pale. Naweza nikawekeza pesa ikiwa niko pale pale kazini.
Wapi sasa mume wangu utawekeza wapi hizo pesa?
Mke wangu twende ofisini. Twende ofisini.
Ofisi gani?
Si kule Kanontao pale ya pension. Kwani ofisi kwa wapi?
Sasa mpenzi wangu.
Wewe unielewi kila siku mimi nafanya kazi kwa ajili yako wewe.
Sawa, nishakuelewa mume wangu.
Sawa. Wajua kama hatungejaza na mapema hizi fomu.
Pakombo. Niko hapa bwana. Huyu mke wangu hebu mwambie bwana. Mimi kimuelezea yeye anielewi.
Hakuelewi vipi tena ndugu yangu?
Mwatoka wapi huko?
Hivi twatoka Tawa kule. Kulikuwa na mahesabu yamebakia kwenda kuwekewa sawa.
Mahesabu?
Kumbe kuna kuhifadhi kwingine bwana. Ukichelewa mwenyewe, ndiwe mwenyewe. Ukichanga mapema, ramstare.
Haya pesa hizo. Pesa hizo.
Huyu mke wangu mwanamboa pesa bwana, ukimtajia pesa tu ushambaliza. Huyu.
Mke mwenzangu, kwa hisani yako usimpe pressure mume wako.
Yuani ficha lakini huyu.
Tulia, kila kitu kitakuwa sawa, utamuelewa.
Wajua yeye haelewi kwamba ile insurance nitakaweka mimi pale itakuja kutusaidia baadaye. Ukistaafu pia mimi itatusaidia, yeye pia ana lazima kwamba mimi nikachukue zile pesa.
Shemeji. Si mambo ya pesa kwamba wapata sasa. Hii ni akiba unahifadhi. Ushaona? Tena kumbe retirement sio ukitoka kazini. Kwa wale ambao hawajui ni hivi. Wale wanaojua retirement yaanza siku ukiajiriwa kazi.
Usikia maneno hayo?
Unajipanga na mapema jinsi ya kwenda retire yako. Ushaona? Katika haya mambo ndio unapata faida.
Shasikia mke wangu?
Hebu niambie kuna fomu pale ukimjaza mjomba Omari, hebu mjaze yeye.
Nzuri.
Mbona mnaweka mikutano barabarani?
Mkutano
wa nini barabarani?
Si barabarani. Tuko katika maeneo ya kazini vile.
Mzee Kido jambo.
Usikusebega bwana. Angalia.
Iko.
Sawa.
Sasa mbona mfanya mkutano barabarani nyinyi? Mkutano wa nini huu?
Si mkutano huu bwana. Ni maelezo mke wangu alikuwa haelewi. Hivi tuenda kuandikisha.
Ati haelewi nini?
Mambo ya kuwekeza pesa ili zije za matibabu ili zije tusaidie baadaye. Ilikuwa haelewi.
Ile mambo yao fake bwana. Wewe mzee usiende.
Ati ile mambo ya pension. Nasikia ati siku hizi wanasema kuna form ati mwajaza ati sijui aitwaje beneficiary.
Hiyo mimi sikubali kabisa.
Hiyo inaitwa nomination.
Nomination ya kufanya nini?
Waandika wale ambao ukifa wao watapata.
Ngoja. Nikifanya nini?
Ukifa.
Mambo ya chira sitaki hayo. Hiyo ni chira hiyo.
Mume wangu basi jaribu kufa nione.
Wewe usiniombe kufa wewe mke wangu. Mbona unaniambia kufa?
Mimi sichazi sababu sitaki kufa.
Wewe bila kusema niendelee wewe ufe mbele, mimi nife baadaye ananiambia mimi nife mbele. Sitaki mambo kama hayo.
Hii jamani haya mambo hutokea. Ndipo tunaposema unapowekeza sasa ukiwa kazini, kuna hazina ya tiba. Ile hazina ya tiba manake mamlaka ya bandari inakuwekea pesa nyingi sana za matibabu. Lakini challenge ya matibabu yako yanapita kile kiwango, hii akaunti yaweza ikakusaidia.
Maneno mazuri hayo.
Si wewe tu, mkeo na watoto chini ya miaka 23.
Si ya kuchasa harabu ufe.
Jamani huku kufa nani atabakia?
Hakuna atakayebaki.
Lakini ukiweka akiba tunakuuliza hebu fikiria.
Nauliza hivi mzee. Tuzapata against hiyo retirement yake.
Sasa hayo ndio mambo yetu. Lakini tena afadhali. Ngoja muelezwe kwa makini. Sisi twaripua tu. Yule ndo aliotuandikisha sisi ndio manufaa.
Amjambo tena.
Hatujambo.
Mmesikia mambo na nomination forms? Bwana Bako. Hizi nomination forms wewe ulipata wapi? Tawa. Mmesikia? Nomination forms zapatikana Tawa. Ama unaweza pata kwa email ya Tawa. Wasemaje?
Kule control Tawa.
Control Tawa wapi tena?
Kwa pension, ofisi ya pension.
Sio pale dokia.
Kule gorofa 7.
Umeelewa? Hiyo nomination form unajaza wale watu we mwenyewe umeamua kwa kupenda kwako. Utawajazia percentage kiasi fulani. Out of 100% unaweza amua ukampatia mwenzako 100% ama ukagawanya kiasi cha kuwa mpaka ifikie 100. Hata paka wako weza mpatia.
Sharibu.
Sasa jamani, maarifa ni haya. Ili tupate ujumbe mzuri kamili. Twendeni Tawa vijana.
Hebu unaulizaje?
Nilikuwa nauliza.
Mwasema huyu Tawa nilikuwa nikisoma naye, huyu Tawa yuko engineering kule.
Si engineer Tawa.
Na Dolores na Emma.
Sasa hao ndio trustee.
Sasa sikiliza, mimi wale naelewana nao. Na nitamwambia yule chairman yao Mr. Lucas Katema. Kwa sababu ya sisi watu wa KPA tushazoea mambo ya against dividend, against 1 month. Wewe ngojea bwana. Against death ni muhimu bwana. Kila kitu ni wachie watoto wa kazi gani? Hii paka wewe umesema jambo la bure sana. Hili lifikirieni. Sawa Mr. Tawa? Hii habari hii against death ifikirieni. Nisipate mapema jamaa. Nje kugumu.
RPA sheria ya RPA iruhusu hiyo.
Subiri.
Hapa
mimi hapo. Sijaelewa.
Iwaomba hii pesa tunaweka akiba. Baada ya kufa ataka kuiandikia against.
Itakuwa waharibu sasa hapo. Itatusaidia sisi baadaye pamoja na familia zetu jamani.
Sawa. Basi sitoshe pia mna habari kuna post retirement medical scheme.
Gani hiyo? Ipi?
Post retirement medical scheme. Naijua?
Ni ipi hiyo?
Iko na against.
Against vipi tena?
Tushazoea.
Hiyo ni contributions.
Jamani, hebu twendeni kule ofisi. Nasikia kuna mkutano Bandari Academy huko. Hebu twendeni tukaelimishwe vizuri.
Ngoja nauliza. Yale ya kuandika watu. Nasikia watu ikiwa familia yako pia hujazifomu. Si ndio hiyo ni ofisi hiyo?
Ofisi hiyo.
Wajaza mke wako, watoto wako,
aswa
na nani? Mjomba pia.
Hata mjukuu weza mjaza yule ambaye roho yako imekupa.
Siku ikiwa wewe umekwenda mbele za haki, wao ndio watakuwa simamia. Basi si ni mpango mzuri huo?
Tena kabisa. Hata muelezee mke wako aelewe.
Mke wangu mpaka school fees watoto pia watasoma.
Kwa hivyo ukifa wewe
unakufa tu wewe. Hebu twendeni. Mbona wewe hapo ndio unaniambia kufa wewe?
Jamani, I'm telling you, kumbe tunaelewa mambo ya pension yetu. That's the point of contention. Do we understand our pension? Kumbe watu wengi wanaelewa what's supposed to be done at the right time. I'm telling you, hata sahi nilipata statement. Karibu niwache kazi lakini nimekumbuka kumbe bado niko na disability mpaka 5 years. Pesa ni nyingi. Thank you so much. Makofi tena.
Thank you so much, our peer educators. That was wonderful, isn't it? Makofi kwao tafadhali. Wametuhimiza to nominate our beneficiaries and you save for your medical care in retirement. Kwa sababu sasa ukiwa bandarini unashughulikiwa na idara, utakapo staafu itakuwa ni wewe mwenyewe. Thank you. So the chair, so I will invite you, Chair, to come and read the report from the Board of Trustees. Karibu.
distinguished members, the Managing Director, fellow trustees, Secretariat, and our service providers. Good morning again. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 12th Annual General Meeting of the Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I thank you for taking the time to attend this meeting and the confidence you continue to place in your scheme. Your presence here demonstrates your commitment to safeguarding your retirement benefits, and for that, we are truly grateful. Today, I'm pleased to report that 2025 was an exceptional year for our scheme. Let me give you a reflection. At a time when global markets were navigating economic uncertainties, geopolitical tensions, and changing investment conditions, your scheme remained resilient, focused, and committed to its primary purpose, that is to protect and grow your retirement savings. Members, retirement planning is often compared to a marathon rather than a sprint. It requires patience, discipline, prudent management, and a long-term vision. I'm pleased to inform you that your scheme continues to perform strongly on all these fronts. From a global outlook, the global economy expanded by approximately 3.3% during the year, while the East African region recorded impressive growth of about 5.6%. Closer home, Kenya's retirement benefits industry continued to grow significantly, with pension assets surpassing Kenya shillings 2.8 trillion. Against this backdrop, I'm delighted to report that our scheme delivered one of its strongest performances in recent years. As at 31st December 2025, the scheme's total fund value stood at approximately 35.44 billion. This was a growth up from 28.25 billion the previous year, reflecting a commendable 25.5% increment and underscoring the scheme's strongest financial performance and resilience. This growth was driven by prudent investment decisions, continued contribution inflows, disciplined portfolio management, and a favorable market condition. More importantly, this growth translates into stronger retirement security for our members, yourselves. I'm equally pleased to report that the scheme achieved an impressive annual return of 18.24% for the registered fund and 18.48% for non-registered fund. This is so far the best returns recorded in the history of the scheme. Thank you. These returns are not merely statistics. They represent value added to members' retirement savings. They reflect the effectiveness of the investment strategy adopted by the Board of Trustees and implemented by our service providers. And they reaffirm our commitment to ensuring that your money continues to work for you. And that is the essence of investment. Let the money work for you. Members, one of the board's most important responsibilities is ensuring that investments are managed prudently while safeguarding the capital. I am pleased to report that the scheme remained fully compliant with all the investment limits prescribed by the Retirement Benefits Authority and the investment policy statement of the scheme. All the assets classes are within the legal limits prescribed by the Retirement Benefits Authority. Our portfolio continues to maintain an appropriate balance between growth, income generation, risk management, and capital preservation. This disciplined approach has enabled us to achieve strong returns while protecting the long-term sustainability of the scheme. On governance, oversight, and accountability, allow me to turn to that aspect. A strong pension scheme is built not only on strong investment, but also on strong governance. Your scheme continues to be administered by a balanced board comprising both sponsor-nominated trustees and member-elected trustees, as earlier introduced. Throughout the year, the board remained committed to the highest standards of transparency, accountability, and fiduciary responsibilities. The board conducted its evaluation and scored an average of 83% during the year under review. We strengthened oversight through our board committees, enhanced compliance mechanisms, and continue to invest in trustee training and professional development. The scheme maintained 3 committees during the year. These are Strategy, Finance, and Investment Committee, led by Trustee Mercy Kirui, Administration and Communication Committee, led by Trustee Emma Okello, and Audit and Risk Committee, led by Trustee Daniel Mugao. Thank you. I'm also pleased to report that the scheme remained compliant with all material regulatory requirements during the year under review. Members, let me highlight key concerns during the year. No institution is without challenges, and your scheme is no exception. One challenge that continues to concern the Board of Trustees is the failure by some members to complete and regularly update their nomination forms. I'm very happy to note that the message has sunk home by the message presented by our peer educators. Allow me to emphasize that the nomination form is one of the most important documents relating to your retirement benefits. It ensures that benefits are paid promptly and in accordance with your wishes in the unfortunate event of death, which is the natural process of exiting this world. I therefore encourage all members to review and update their nomination forms regularly. The second challenge relates to a decline in active membership, arising largely from limited recruitment by the sponsor during the year. You know, we are talking of 2025. However, we are encouraged by the recruitment initiatives already undertaken in 2026, which are expected to support membership growth and contribute positively to the scheme's long-term sustainability. While the scheme continues to perform strongly, I remain concerned by the low uptake of additional voluntary contributions, AVC, and post-retirement medical fund. These initiatives were established solely for the benefit of our members and are intended to provide greater financial security and peace of mind during retirement. I urge all members to consider enhancing their retirement savings through additional voluntary contributions, as this will also provide you benefits on tax advantages, and also encourage you to enroll in post-retirement medical fund so as to better prepare for the future, for your future medical and financial needs. I want to emphasize that the decisions we make today will significantly shape and comfort dignity of our retirement years. On the upcoming trustee elections, as we look ahead, I wish to draw your attention to forthcoming trustee elections. These elections will provide members with an important opportunity to participate in shaping the future leadership of the scheme. As you have noted, This scheme has 6 trustees, 3 are elected by members and 3 are nominated by the sponsor. I encourage all eligible members to participate actively, responsibly, and respectfully in electoral process. Once elections are over, of course, we all remain on the same team and work together. Our shared objective is the continued success and sustainability of the scheme. So after elections, sote tunafanya kazi pamoja, because it's all about your own welfare and benefits on retirement. I'm also pleased to inform you that in line with recent regulatory changes, the scheme is in the process of amending its trust deed and rules to provide the trustees term limit of 5 years as opposed to the current 3-year term. This will promote continuity, strengthen institutional memory, and provide trustees with adequate time to implement long-term strategic initiatives. The board remains committed to ensuring that the elections are conducted in a transparent, fair, and credible manner. There's a separate committee that manages the elections, but we work hand in hand to facilitate, to ensure that elections are held in a transparent, fair, and credible manner. In a special way, the board wishes to express its sincere gratitude to Trustee Emma, whose term is coming to an end this year in November. This is after serving the Board of Trustees for 2 terms. Her steadfast support, dedication, and invaluable service over the years are highly appreciated. Thank you, Trustee Emma. On strategic priorities and future directions, we see the future as being very promising. The board has identified several strategic priorities that will guide the scheme moving forward. These include reviewing the scheme's strategic plan to align it with emerging economic realities and member expectations. We shall continue pursuing investment diversification opportunities, including offshore investments and alternative asset classes, with the objective of enhancing long-term risk-adjusted returns. We also intend to deepen the use of technology in scheme administration, improve operational efficiency, and strengthen member engagement and enhance service delivery. We're thinking of employing technology to ensure that the 3,000 members who registered and went away would remain and hear this conversation. And we will do that. The scheme will be conducting trustee elections later this year, as mentioned. This is an important governance activity within the scheme. I encourage all eligible members to actively participate in the process by electing individuals who possess integrity, competence, commitment, and a genuine desire to serve the interests of the members. As we prepare for this transition, we are also aligning our governance instruments with the latest regulatory requirements issued by the Retirement Benefits Authority, including new provisions relating to trustees' tenure. Members, as we celebrate today, the achievements we celebrate today have not happened by chance. They are the results of collaboration, dedication, and a shared commitment to excellence. Allow me, therefore, to express my sincere appreciation to the following. To our members, thank you for your continued trust and confidence in the scheme. To our sponsor, thank you for your unwavering support and timely remittance of contributions which remain critical to the scheme's success. Members, let's not take it for granted that our sponsor remits our contributions timely. There are other places where it doesn't happen. So thank you so much, IMD. To my fellow trustees, thank you for your commitment, wisdom, and selfless service. It has been a privilege working alongside this dedicated team. To the scheme secretariat, thank you for your professionalism, diligence, and tireless efforts in ensuring efficient administration of the scheme. To our service providers, thank you for your expertise, partnership, and support throughout the year. And to the Retirement Benefits Authority, our regulator, we remain grateful for your guidance, oversight, continued efforts in strengthening the pensions industry. As I close, ladies and gentlemen, as we look forward to the future, the board remains committed to protecting your retirement saving, strengthening governance, enhancing service delivery, and pursuing sustainable opportunities. The results achieved in 2025 give us confidence that we are moving in the right direction. Together, we shall continue building a stronger, more resilient, and more prosperous scheme for the benefit of all members and future generations. I thank you for your attention, your support, and your continued confidence in the Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012. May God bless you, and may God bless Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme. Thank you. I now take the opportunity to invite our sponsor, the Managing Director, Kenya Ports Authority, to give his remarks.
Makofi. Makofi jamani. Ai. Ai. Captain kijana leo jamani. Tena very handsome.
Amjamboni. Wengi wacha siasa. Au tutarudi kule tulikuwa siku ile. The chair, the board of trustees, allow me to make one or two confessions here so that at least we understand why we are here. Normally, when I attend such a function, you'll always find there are two groups here. Okay? The first group are the younger ones. You can see some of you here who are saying retirement is too far away to worry about today. And the other group, including Nges, would say, I wish I had started worrying about much earlier. The truth is, retirement has a remarkable way of arriving much faster than we expect. And they always say there are three stages in life. Okay? The first stage, you have the energy, but you have no time. Okay? That is now one stage. The second stage, you have money, and you have the energy, but you don't have time. And the third stage, which most of us are always in, is you have the time. If you had planned, you have some money, but the energy is not there. Yeah? So, yeah, it is true. Yeah? So whether you joined, so I always say that in that stage, what happened most is that when the energy is not there, when you wake up every day, because you have time, You have money, but the energy is negotiating with you because now hiyo nguvu imekwisha sasa. This is exactly why gathering like this today are so important, and they remind us that retirement is not an end of our productive lives. It is the reward for the many years that we've worked hard. The quality that reward depends on the decisions we make today. So whether you joined KPA last month or several years ago, I encourage you to listen carefully this morning, because maybe I'll give you 1 or 2 ideas that will help change your life. Secondly, someone said one time that retirement is wonderful provided you have 2 things, meaning that every morning when you wake up, many people start thinking about the investment you've made. Because if you don't make investment now, that time when it will come, it will be very unfortunate, because now you start thinking about money which you would have invested before. So today is about making sure that we prepare financially and secure a retirement that fulfills our employment. Now, allow me to give great pleasure to join you today at the 12th Annual General Meeting of Kenya Ports Authority Benefits Scheme 2012. At the outset, kindly allow me to congratulate the Board of Trustees, the Scheme Secretariat, all the stakeholders for the commendable achievement recorded during the year 31st, 2025. If it was not for this team, really we wouldn't have been gathering here to celebrate the good positive results. The good positive results presented today are a clear demonstration of prudent leadership, and allow me to appreciate the leadership of the scheme led by the administrator, of the sound governance, disciplined investment management, and that steadfast commitment to safeguarding members' retirement benefits. The impressive growth in the scheme's assets and the strong returns delivered during the year are achievements that all stakeholders can pride in. As a sponsor, Kenya Ports Authority remains fully committed to supporting initiatives that promote the welfare and the financial security of our employees, both during their active years of service and throughout their retirement. We don't want to have a situation where you are working for a 5-star institution, but when you retire at a very bad stage. So, colleagues, it is always important to invest for the future. We firmly believe that retirement planning is not merely a financial obligation, but a critical component of employee well-being and organizational sustainability. As stated, employee welfare is paramount to us as the employer. The scheme therefore provides an invaluable platform through which members can build financial independence and secure their future after their active employment. I encourage all members to take keen interest in understanding their benefits, reviewing their retirement goals regularly, and taking advantage of opportunities available within the scheme to enhance their retirement savings. On our part as the employer, we shall continue to support the scheme and our members through the following: timely remittance of contribution, which this one I think can be attested by the administrator, timely appointment of the sponsors nominated trustees, ensuring the appointed trustees have the set skills valuable for the scheme, releasing staff to attend retirement trainings and other related seminars. And I think this one we have been very religious on. Other than that, some of us, when you are released, you just go and collect what is given and you don't take in interest what is being provided or trained. Allow me also to address our newly recruited members, which I see very few of them here, even not more than 10. But again, as we say, when you find yourself you are still young, you still say there is time. But I want to say time starts now. Retirement may seem a distance for many of us, especially those still actively engaged in our careers. However, experience has consistently shown that comfortable and dignified retirement is built through deliberate planning, disciplined saving, the prudent management of resources over time. You heard our peer educators telling us against. Hii mambo ya against, can we really tujaribu kupunguza? Everything is against. Even what I'm very soon going to pay, tusianze kuchukua against. But I've always said, if I give a promise, I will always deliver. Allow me to particularly address our younger members and those who have recently joined Kenya Ports Authority. Many people make the mistake of thinking that retirement is a concern for those with gray air, and those counting down on the days of their farewell party. I want to say here, I think personally, whereas I serve as a sponsor, I've already retired from KPA. So me, I'm enjoying my benefits and I'm very happy. And I want to tell you that if you'd want the best place to invest is to invest in the scheme. And I don't know, and I don't think there is anywhere where you can get returns of more than 18%. We have the fund administrator. We have a team here that will be able to present to you. And we would want to thank them, our fund administrators, because of the good work they are doing in ensuring that whatever investment that we have is invested in a high yielding returns. And I don't think there is anywhere where you will get high yielding returns other than the scheme. So mambo ya kwenda kuchukua interest kusema fixed account, that will not give you good returns like this. Personally, I've learned a lot, and I want to thank you people for what you've always taught us. In fact, I like to compare retirement planning to a marathon. The race does not begin when you turn 55 or 60. It begins the moment you get your appointment letter or is handed to you. The letter is a whistle signaling that the race has started. So put more money on that retirement. Unfortunately, many people hear the whistle, sit comfortably under a tree, and they enjoy the scenery and only start running when they can see the finish line approaching. By then, they are exhausted, out of breath, and wondering why retirement appears so difficult when you had all the time. The secret of comfortable retirement is very simple. Start early. Small and consistent saving made over many years can make a remarkable difference in the quality of life you enjoy after employment. Retirement is one appointment that all of us shall keep. The only uncertainty is whether we shall arrive prepared or unprepared. One of the greatest challenges many retirees face is access to quality, affordable health care. And this is very important. While none of us can predict the future, one thing is for certain. At some point in our lives, we shall require medical care. And this one we don't want to take for granted. The question is not whether that need will arise, but whether we shall be financially prepared to meet. So, colleagues, I want to emphasize about the issue of the health, because we realize that when we are still working with this institution, the institution takes care of our medical. But once you exit that gate, that medical becomes your responsibility. And if you don't plan, all that retirement you have invested will just go in one sweep. So I kindly encourage everybody that we take full advantage of the post-retirement medical fund. This fund is designed to help cushion members against healthcare expenses during retirement when regular employment income is no longer available. By making contributions today, you are investing in your future health, dignity, and peace of mind. You may think it is not necessary, but that time will come when you will say, how I wish. So don't start thinking that it is not necessary. It is necessary. And it's not a waste of money. It's a saving that will come and help. As the saying goes, we repair the roof while the sun is shining. Let us therefore save for the rainy days ahead, because when retirement comes, a well-funded medical plan may become one of the most valuable assets you possess. On the call to nominate beneficiaries, I think this is also very important, because some of us take things for granted, but your day, nobody knows when it will come. So I also wish to echo the board's call for members to ensure that their nomination forms are properly completed and updated whenever circumstances change. We all know circumstances change. A valid nomination form provides clarity regarding the distribution of benefits and facilitates the prompt settlement of benefits in the unfortunate event of a member's demise. Ya maana sana hii jameni. The failure to update nomination of beneficiaries forms poses a real risk that your loved one may miss out on your benefits when your demise occurs. Ladies and gentlemen, the authority remains committed in investing in its human capital and maintaining productive workforce. As we continue to grow and transform our operations, we recognize that our people remain our most valuable asset. We shall therefore continue supporting initiatives that promote employee welfare, financial security, and retirement preparedness. As a sponsor, we are equally committed to the timely remittance of contribution to maintaining a close and productive working relationship with the Board of Trustees in ensuring that the scheme remains financially sound, well-governed, and responsive to the needs of its members. In terms of governance oversight and accountability, I'm also encouraged by the board's continued efforts to strengthen governance and structures, embrace technology, enhance members' engagement. And when I say technology, because everybody knows whoever has registered has got whatever is supposed to receive through a mobile phone. There is no line to go and queue and say, "Patia elfu yangu moja." These initiatives are aligned with global best practice and position the scheme favorably for future growth, sustainability, and resilience in an increasing dynamic economic environment. Members, I'm aware that the trustees' elections will be conducted later this year. This is one of the most important governance activities within the scheme, and I urge every eligible member to take an active interest in the process. The trustees you elect will be entrusted with the responsibility of safeguarding and administering your retirement benefits for the next 5 years. And you will have no recourse. Once you have elected, you will have to live with that person for the next 5 years. They will make decisions that influence the governance, investment strategy, overall direction of the scheme, the quality of leadership you choose today will have a direct impact on the security of your retirement tomorrow. So, Jameni, I want to emphasize, let us take these elections very seriously so that we choose the right people. Sometimes we may take things for granted, but again, you also need to see the kind of investment that these people will be given the honors to take charge of. You are taking of billions and billions of money. So the kind of leader or the kind of person you elect will mean a lot for tomorrow. I therefore encourage you to participate fully in the election process and elect individuals with integrity, competence, commitment, and sound judgment. And I want to appreciate the trustees that you elected the other day. They are very good people. Tano tena, haya. Ema ende kwa DP. So, mwende mumpigia kura. Lakini siku mweleza hapa, lakini when it comes to voting, mnafanya vingine. Na msipotoka, mkitoka hapa msimulize awangalie tukutane huko. As I often said, vote and participate as though your retirement depends on it. And it is true, it depends on it. Because it actually does. The decisions made by the trustees will affect not only the current members, but also future generations who will look to this scheme for financial security and retirement. In exploring new opportunities, the public-private partnership PPPs. In exploring to this new investment horizon, I urge the Board of Trustees to look into viable public-private partnerships as an alternative investment avenue. In a developing economy like Kenya, strategic public infrastructure projects offer unique opportunities for predictable long-term wealth creation. Traditional assets classes like government treasury bills, the equities face fluctuating yields. And I think we'll be told, and I want you to listen. Well-structured PPPs can provide inflation-edged cash flow matching returns that mature pension scheme requires to fulfill its long-term obligations. The board should evaluate commercial opportunities in critical sectors aligned with national development such as the transport and logistics. Investing in instruments backing projects like toll roads, similar to the Nairobi Expressway, or port adjacent hubs with steady usage-based revenues. In terms of renewable energy, capitalizing independent power projects, geothermal, solar, and wind, secured by long-term power purchasing agreements with Kenya Power. I think it's an option, and I think the trustees that you will choose will make those decisions. However, this challenge comes with a strong call for caution. The trustees must conduct rigorous independent due diligence, critically evaluating risk profiles, liquidity constraints, and long-term returns before committing members' funds, keeping in mind unique construction and regulatory risks. Every PPP investment must strictly align with the Retirement Benefits Authority's guidelines or on alternative assets. It is your fiduciary duty to protect and grow the fund's core wealth without exposing it to unnecessary volatility or capital lock-ins. In terms of future outlook, as we look to the future, I'm confident that Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012 is well positioned to continue delivering value to its members. The strong performance achieved in 2025, coupled with the strategic initiatives being implemented by the sponsor and the Board of Trustees, provides a solid foundation for sustainable growth. Kenya Ports Authority remains steadfast in its commitment to supporting the scheme and working collaboratively with all stakeholders to secure the retirement future for our employees. Together, let's continue building a stronger, more resilient, and more prosperous scheme for the benefit of the current and future generations. In appreciating members, the success of any retirement benefit scheme depends on the collective efforts of all stakeholders. The achievements reported today are the result of a strong collaborations between the sponsor, the Board of Trustees, the Secretariat, the service providers, regulators, and members themselves. That one I want to appreciate everybody. Allow me, therefore, to express my sincere appreciation to the Board of Trustees, their stewardship, commitment, and dedication in overseeing the affairs of the scheme. I also commend the scheme Secretariat for their professionalism and diligence in ensuring the efficient administration of the scheme. I also want to extend my gratitude to the Retirement Benefits Authority for its continued guidance and regulatory oversight, which has contributed significantly for the stability of the growth of Kenya retirement benefits sector. To our service providers, thank you for your expertise, professionalism, and partnership throughout the year. And to the members, thank you for your continued trust and confidence in the scheme. Your participation and support remains the foundation upon which the scheme's success is built. Asanteni sana. Kwa kumalizia tu, nataka tuniimise yale tumesema. Sababu baadhi yetu tunachukulia mambo ya retirement kama ni kitu inakuja kwa ubali, but it is with us. And one thing I want to say is start investing in your retirement now. It is very important. The medical plan that has been provided is one of the best, because mambo ya afya hakuna mtu anajua. Utawezaona kama unatumia pesa, lakini if it comes in the wrong way, utaanza sasa kuregret kusema how I wish. Na singependa any employee of KPA in retirement to say how I wish, when we had provided all options for you. And we have a team of experts. If you have time, you can visit them in the office and they will give you guidance. Personally, whenever I'm free also, I also go and seek advice on how best to invest. Because ulisikia tulisema kuna watu aina tatu. Kuna wakati you have the energy, you have money but you have no time. And there is also that time where you have money, you have time, but that energy is not there. And every morning, when you wake up now, you start negotiating with energy, it's not good. So jameni, tusikize kwa makini mawaidha wale service providers wetu watatupatia, so that we invest for a brighter future. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Makofi kwa MD. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. I would also like to appreciate our online viewers who are watching us from wherever they are. There is one who is watching us from Tanzania. We really appreciate. And there is one who has said that hata kama walikuja kuregister wakachukua maji, don't worry, we are following online. So we appreciate you for registering, but also continuing to follow us online. So without much ado, Chair, I would like to invite our auditor, Mr. Obiria, to come and give us the report of the year ended 31st December 2025. Karibu.
the Board of Trustees of our DC scheme, trustees of our DB scheme, the sponsor, our regulator RPA, the secretariat team, fellow service providers and members, good morning. My name is CPA Gideon Obiria. Members, we audited financial statements for the year ended at 31st December 2025, which are on pages 58 to 76 of the annual report before you. For the purpose of this AGM, I will present to you the following in summary. Number one, the statement of changes in net assets available for benefits, which is on page 58 of the annual report. Thereafter, I will present to you the statement of net assets available for benefits, which is on page 59 of the annual report. Lastly, I will read my opinion. That's paragraph 1 and 2, which are on pages 56 of the annual report. Members, kindly, let's now turn to page 58 of the annual report for the statement of changes in net assets available for benefits. This is an equivalent of an income and expenditure account. I start with income from dealing with members. For the year ended 31st December 2025, contributions and transfers in amounted to 2.1 billion. While benefits amounting to 1 billion were paid out to members. Reducing the benefits paid out from the contributions and transfers in of 2.1 billion, there was a surplus of 1.1 billion shillings. We now turn to return on investments. Realized income was 3.8 billion, while unrealized income was 2.7 billion. We had investment management expenses amounting to 74 million. Putting together the realized income and reducing the investment management expenses, we had a net return on investment amounting to 6.4 billion. While for the year ended 31st December 2024, the net return on investment amounted to 5.9 billion shillings. Administrative expenses for the year ended 31st December 2025 amounted to 128 million shillings. When you accumulate the net reduction from dealing from members, and also the net return on investment, and then you reduce the administrative expenses. For the year ended 31st December 2025, we had an increase in net assets amounting to 7.5 billion, while for the year ended 31st December 2024, it was 7.2 billion shillings. Members, now let's move to the next statement, which is the statement of net assets available for benefits. This is an equivalent of a balance sheet. We start with non-current assets. Investments for the year ended 31st December 2025 amounted to 35 billion. Equipment, 9 million. Intangible assets, 13 million. Giving total non-current assets for the year ended 31st December 2025 at 35 billion. While for the year ended 31st December 2024, it was 28 billion shillings. We now move to current assets, where we have receivables and cash equivalents amounting to 329 million for the year ended 31st December 2025. While for the year ended 31st December 2024, it was 293 million. Current liabilities for the year ended 31st December 2025 amounted to 105 million shillings, while for the year ended 31st December 2024, it was 78 million shillings. When you reduce the current liabilities from current assets, for the year ended 31st December 2025, we had net current assets as 223 million, while for the year ended 31st December 2024, it was 215 million shillings. For the year ended, overall for the year ended December 2025, the net assets available for benefits for the scheme was 35 billion shillings, while for the year ended December 2024, it was 28 billion shillings. Finally, members, allow me now to read my opinion. which is on page 56 of the annual report. And I read, we audited the financial statements of Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefits Scheme 2012, which are set out on pages 58 to 76, which comprise the statement of net assets available for benefits as at 31 December 2025, and the statement of changes in net assets available for benefits, statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and the notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the scheme as at 31 December 2025, and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards and the requirements of RPA Act 1997 and the scheme's trust deed. Thank you, members.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Obiria. Naomba unakili maswali ambayo unayo kwa auditor wa scheme. Yuko hapa na atajibu maswali yako kwa ile fursa ya swali na majibu. So, Chair, we will go to the next report. We will receive the report from the investments. And I'll invite Quinta. Karibu.
I hope so. Through the chair, the Board of Trustees, the Secretariat, RBA, my fellow service providers, and the members, good morning. Good morning once again. So I'll take you through the investment report, which is a representative of the sentiments of the three fund managers who managed the fund. Those are African Alliance, ICA Lion, and Gen Africa. So from the contents, we'll have the fund manager's role, economic market review of 2025, the fund statistics, and an overall outlook as far as 2026 is concerned. So starting with the roles of the fund managers. So the first one is advisory. As fund managers, we offer advice to the trustees on some of the investment options, and opportunities, and also advise the trustees how they can comply with the IPS and RBA regulations. Secondly, we carry out investments on behalf of the fund and also consistently monitor the performance of those investments in regards to the IPS and RBA regulations. We also report to the trustees on the fund performance and also report to the members during such AGMs. Lastly, we submit reports to the RBA as part of good corporate governance. In terms of economic performance, I'll start with the economic growth. So as at end of 2025, Kenya recorded a slight decline in GDP, recording 4.6% compared to 4.7% that we saw in 2024. So ideally, the reason for this was a slight decline in the agricultural sector, due to the unfavorable rain patterns experienced in 2025. However, being a festive season, the tourism and the sector services recorded positive returns during the end of the year. In terms of inflation, as at end of December, the month recorded an inflation rate of 4.5, but averagely during the year, the average rate of inflation was around 4%, which remained within the CBK target of 2.5 to 7.5%. In terms of currency movement, generally we saw the Kenyan shilling remain relatively stable. This was supported by several factors. Number one being very strong reserves that was recorded by the country, averaging around 5.3 months of import cover. We also saw very steady inflows from foreign or diaspora Kenyans, which really favored the currency. In terms of interest rates, in 2024, we saw rates of around 13%. However, in 2025, this reduced to 9% as the Central Bank of Kenya was trying to boost borrowings by the private sector. This also kind of normalized the yield curve, which is used to measure the returns from treasury bonds. In the stock market, in 2025, we saw rate of returns really going down, which is favoring the stock market performance. So we have a couple of indices that measure the performance of the stock market. And all these indices were double digits. Talking of NASI, we had 51% return. The N10 had around 50% return. The NSE 20 recorded around 56% return. And NSE 25 recorded 49% return. So this is one of the major contributors of the good performance that we have seen for the year 2025. In terms of the fund statistics, now speaking about the portion of the fund that is managed by the fund managers, as at close of 2025, we had spread the assets across various investments. Starting with the quoted equities, we had invested around 4.1 billion. In the Kenyan government securities, those are the treasury bonds, we had invested around 25 billion. Commercial papers, or what we call the corporate bonds, we had around 15 million. For the fixed and time deposits, those are local, we had around 608 million. We also had investments in guaranteed fund of around 5.2 billion. And also offshore investments, which are investments outside Kenya, around 496 million. So all these cumulatively contributed to our fund value of 35.73 billion. And also to mention is, for the portion managed by the fund managers, the fund value grew from 28.19 billion in 2024 to 35.73 billion in 2025. Now going forward, what do we see in 2026? The first one is GDP is expected to average between within the range of 5%. Of course, we have seen the impact of the Middle East. So our projections are the Kenyan's economy will grow averagely at around 5%. But this is something we also continue to monitor. In terms of inflation, the last month we saw at 6.7 already, but we expect that this is going to go down and remain above 5%, of course, driven by the higher energy prices that we have seen. In terms of interest rates, to sustain fiscal financing, though interest rates are expected to continue going upward. However, it's something that the CBK is trying to contain to reduce the cost of borrowing as well. The Kenya shilling is expected to experience some pressure reacting to the current Middle East tensions. But again, the government through the Central Bank of Kenya is trying to implement strategies to ensure it remains stable, as we have experienced in 2025. Lastly, on the equity markets, as much as it is volatile, we have seen positive investor sentiments, which we expect will foster this market going forward. That marks the end of my presentation, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the trustees and the Secretariat for the continued support. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinta. So, Chair, allow me to invite the custodian, that is Paul Ngomba from KCB Bank. Karibu.
The chair, our trustees in the DC fund and our trustees in the DB, members and service providers, good morning. Good morning once again. My name is Paul Ngomba from KCB, your fund custodian. We do take care of your funds in terms of ensuring they are safe. So allow me just to make a small presentation and just confirm what the assets that we held. So in terms of KCB as your fund custodian, we are in excess of 38 million customers, around 12,000 employees across various units within Kenya. We are also in Tanzania, Uganda, DRC, Congo, and Rwanda. We also have a lot of subsidiaries that support us, Kenya, KCB Investment Bank, KCB Corporate Trustee, Bank Assurance. So KCB as a group is one entity that has grown over these years through your support. So our role as your fund custodian is engraved in the Retirement Benefits Act of 1997, as well as various regulations that govern us, the CBK CMA, as you'll see in my report. And as your custodian, we are mandated to ensure the safekeeping of your assets. We carry out that fiduciary responsibility on behalf of your trustees. Tumepewa hiyo jukumu na trustees wenu. We ensure that all the assets of the scheme are safe in terms of safekeeping of those assets. So katika zile jukumu ambazo trustees wamepewa na wametu delegate hiyo responsibility is ensuring safekeeping of your assets. So what are some of the entities ambazo the regulators? So from that presentation you see Central Bank of Kenya, obviously because we are a commercial bank and we are mandated to be regulated by the Kenya, or rather the Central Bank of Kenya. For us to be able to play part in the pension space, Retirement Benefits Authority inatuangalia, ensure maswala ile yote tunatekeleza kama custodian iko katika sheria ile wame publish. Then we have the Capital Markets Authority. For us to partake in the business contact, we have CMA ambao wanatuangalia, na sisi kama KCB we are also an agent of the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation, ambao zile hisa ambazo your fund managers buy we settle through CDSC. So in terms of governance, wale wameongea before me, we've had the MD, captain and chair speak of the scheme governance. This is how ideally in terms of law we are anchored. We have your trustees, that your trustees ambao wanaongozwa na chairman Lucas ambaye ni chair wa the board. Then we have now the fund manager. For this fund tuko na watatu, ICA, African Alliance na Gen Africa, and then as the custodian KCB we are there, and then in between tuko na mikataba ambayo inahakikisha kana kwamba all the funds zile ambazo zinainvestiwa na your fund managers zinakupitia kwetu. We say to those instructions kama wanabai hisa, kama wanabai deposits, kama wanabai government securities, we as your custodian we ensure that we settle those investment. Then pale juu trustees tunawapea ripoti kila quarter, na nyinyi kama members you have a right to information, so you can walk to your offices, get to look at the numbers that your fund managers ama sisi custodians zile tumepresent, mnazikagua, na mkifika wakati wa mikutano kama hii mnauliza maswali. Then you have your administrator, obviously the secretariat led by Bernard. Jukumu letu kama custodian nimekuwa nikisema sana, lakini cha muhimu ile ambao unafaa kwenda nyumbani ukifikiria sana ni safekeeping of your assets. Wakati nyinyi mnaendelea kuwa members na wale wameretire, we ensure that all the funds of the KPA Retirement Scheme ziko katika ile best investments for the fund. Tunahakikisha all your fund managers wanatekeleza jukumu lao la kuinvest in a manner that is within the law, na tunaensure all the record of your member funds ziko katika ile mikataba ambayo tumeandikisha na your trustees. So nataka kupea our members wa nyinyi kama hakikisho that during the financial year 31st December 2025 all the funds ambazo tulikuwa tumeshikilia ziliinvestiwa within the required mandates by all your fund managers, na tulipeana hiyo report kwa your trustees as well as the regulator. And then katika hiyo kutekeleza, we did carry all that responsibility within the law. During that year tulifunga mwaka na 35.7 billion. That was the valuation of the fund. That's the breakdown. The fund manager has given that breakdown. We have the quoted equities at 11.5%, government securities 25.2%, ambazo katika allocation ndio zimebeba 70%, corporate bonds, deposits, and then we have some allocation kwa ile tunaita guaranteed na offshores. In totality tulikuwa na 35,733,071,448. This fund has been growing tremendously, and as the trustees have alluded, your remittances for your contributions have come timely, and I can confirm that, na tumekuwa tumefanya malipo kulingana na ile wakati sheria inaturuhusu. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you, Paul. So, Chair, allow me to invite Lewis from Zamara. Karibu.
Who's controlling the presentation? Board of Trustees, DC. Board of Trustees, DB. All protocols observed. Mabibi na mabwana, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Kwa majina naitwa Louis Rapando. Nami niko hapa kwa niaba ya kampuni ya Zamara Actuaries. I'll be taking you through our presentation. Kwa kwanza nitaangalia sisi ni akina nani, alafu tutaenda kwa scheme, tuangalie hali, muundo na faida ambazo tunapata. So kwanza na Zamara. Zamara ni kampuni ya Kikenya. Tumekuwa in the Kenyan market for more than 32 years. Tulianza mwaka wa 1994 kama Hyman's Robertson. Ilipofika mwaka wa 2003 basi tukajiunga na kampuni ya Alexander Forbes. Na tukatumia hiyo jina hadi mwaka wa 2017 ambayo tukawa Zamara. Zamara kwa sasa ni kampuni fully Kenyan. Wale shareholders wote ni wa Kikenya. Na headquarter yetu iko Nairobi, lakini kwa sasa tumefungua kampuni zingine katika nchi 7 Afrika, na matumaini yetu ni kwamba kwa miaka chache ambayo inakuja basi tutaweza kufungua zingine katika country 14. Tukiangalia maadili zetu, maadili ni kama unavyoona, tunapenda kufanya vitu kwa urahisi. Tukiongea na nyinyi tunataka muelewe mambo ambayo tunasema. Kuna empathy ambayo ni kusema kwamba tukiongea na wewe pia nataka tuelewe ni nini unataka kutoka hii mahusiano. Na ya mwisho ni sisi kujaribu kuhakikisha kwamba mawaidha yote tunapatiana ni mawaidha ambayo inaweza kuaminika. So mtu ambaye anatumia hiyo mawaidha basi anaweza faidika kwa mawaidha yenyewe. Tukiangalia kazi ambayo tunafanya, sisi ni watakuwa bima ama actuaries. We are the biggest actuarial firm in East and Central Africa. But pia sisi ni administrators, pension administrators. Sisi ni wadalali, nafanya insurance and reinsurance brokerage. Na for you kama an individual member, ukiwa na pesa ambayo unataka unajiuliza ni nini ama ni vipi nitaweka hii pesa ndio nipatie faida nzuri, basi tunafanya wealth management hiyo for our individual members. Tunaangalia jukumu letu kama mtakwe bima ama actuary. The main one, members, is sisi tunapatiana ushauri. Our main role as actuaries generally is just we give advice, we give ushauri kwa wale ambao wametuajiri. Tunaangalia ama tunawasaidia trustees kuunda investment policy statement, na hili ni document ambayo linahakikisha kwamba scheme inaendelea ama wameweka assets zenu kwa njia ambayo itaendelea kuwafaidi the members of the scheme. I think we go next slide. So tutaanza na kuangalia our pension scheme. Members, lengo kuu la mwajiri ama tajiri kuunda pension scheme ni kuhakikisha kwamba sote ambao tuko ndani ama wale watu wote ambao wamewajiri wanaweka akiba ambayo ataweza kutumia kwa siku wamestaafu. Na ikiwa utaitwa mbele ya haki, basi wale ambao wanakutegemea wataweza kupata afua kidogo kwa akiba ambayo utakuwa umeweka ndani ya pension scheme yako. So tukiangalia scheme yetu, the DC scheme, tofauti na DB ambayo inasimamiwa na bodi ambao wako upande wangu wa kulia. DC scheme ulianza mwaka wa 2013. Ulianza huyo mwaka walifunga scheme yetu ya DC. Kila mtu aliajiriwa mwaka wa 2003 kwenda mbele akaja kwa scheme hii. Inasimamiwa na wadhamini ambao mnaona hiyo upande, na inafanya kazi kwa muundo wa DC, na hii ni kumaanisha kwamba kila mwezi tajiri atatoa pesa taslimu na atume kwa scheme, na kutoka hapo tajiri amemalizana na wewe. So pesa ambayo anatuma ndio pesa amepromise, na anahakikisha kwamba ametuma kila mwezi. Ningependa confirm kwamba scheme yetu imesajiliwa na RBA na KRA, so in terms of compliance scheme yetu ya DC iko compliant as of today. Tukienda kwa muundo, scheme yetu ni tofauti na tajiri, so assets za scheme ni tofauti na assets ambayo tajiri yako nazo. Hii ni jambo nzuri sana, sababu tunataka kuhakikisha tajiri anatuma pesa na pesa yetu iko pahali ambayo tunaweza ona imewekezwa wapi, tunaweza ona faida ambayo inakuja kila mwezi. Wahusika wakuu wa scheme yetu, wa kwanza ni tajiri sponsor KPA, ambaye kila mwezi alifungua scheme. Jambo la kwanza. La pili ni kuhakikisha kwamba kila mwezi pesa anatuma kwa scheme yenyewe. Kuna bodi la wadhamini ambao wamekaa pale, hao ndo tumechagua sisi na sponsor kutuchungia pesa zetu za uzeeni. Alafu wa mwisho ni sisi members. Tukiangalia hapo chini, na tunajua kwamba bodi ya wadhamini wako na kazi nyingine ndani ya KPA. Basi kuna wale ambao tunawasaidia, wa kwanza akiwa administrator, tumesikia kutoka kwa auditor, tumesikia kutoka kwa mwekezaji, tumesikia also from the custodian. So hao wote wanasaidia kuhakikisha kwamba scheme yetu inaendelea kufanya kazi vizuri na kwa njia ambayo itaweza kuwafaidi wanachama wote. In terms of how it works, kila mwezi 10% ya mshahara wako unatolewa. Ukiangalia your paycheck utaona kuna pahali imeandikwa pension scheme ama DC scheme, 10% ya mshahara umetolewa hapo. Alafu tajiri wetu KPA anasindikisha hiyo pesa na 20%. So ikija kwa scheme pale 30% ya mshahara wako kila mwezi unaingia kwa pension scheme. Mwekezaji pesa ikiingia anajulishwa kwamba pesa imeingia hii mwezi, na ni jukumu lake basi kutoka hapo kwenda kutafutia faida ambayo tutapata for the year. Mwaka ukiisha na hesabu zikifanywa with the auditor, basi ile faida, the net income yenye tutapata inakuwa distributed, na pesa yetu kama wanachama inaendelea kukua. Wakati unatoka kwa scheme ama wakati unastaafu, ukitoka either through living early ama wakati wa kustaafu, basi pesa ambayo ni yako itakuwa ile 10% ambayo umekuwa ukitolewa kwa mshahara. asilimia 20 ambaye employer amekuwa akitoa from his funds, na ile faida yote ambayo mnapatiwa kila mwaka, ile 18% unasikia as the interest, yote hiyo itakuwa pesa yako, alafu utaweza kutumia. Tukiangalia zile faida or tutapatiwa pesa nini itakapofanyika, number one, kwa kukumbusha kwamba tukiwa kazini hakuna pesa ambayo tunaweza pata from the pension scheme. If you are working for KPA, you cannot access any money from the pension scheme. Lakini ukitoka, kabla ukiamua kuchange kazi ama wachane na employer kwa sababu moja ama nyingine, kabla ufike umri wa kustaafu, basi kuna faida ambayo utapata kwa pension scheme. Wakati wa kustaafu, of course, hii ni akiba ya uzeni, utakuja upate pesa kutoka hapo. Ukifa, wale ambao wanakutegemea pia kuna pesa yao ambayo watapata from the pension scheme. Na ya mwisho, ukiamua kuhama Kenya, uende kuishi nchi nyingine, Uganda, USA, popote pale, basi unaweza toa pesa from the pension scheme. Tukiangalia ni pesa gani ama pesa kiasi gani unaweza pata ukitoka kabla ufike umri wa kustaafu, basi asilimia 50 ama nusu ya pesa yote, nusu ya that 30% plus interest unaweza lipwa as a cash lump sum ama pesa taslimu. Alafu hiyo nyingine either uiache, na ukiacha, jambo ambalo nakumbuka ni kwamba pesa inaendelea kukua, kila mwaka wanaekeza, kila mwaka mnapata faida, so pesa hata ukiacha ndani ya pension scheme inaendelea kuwa. Na kama umeenda kwa mwajiri mwingine, basi jambo ambalo unaweza fanya ni unaweza amua unataka pesa zako zote ziwe pale pamoja, na unaweza hamisha that money from KPA pension scheme either to your new employer ama kwa your own personal individual pension plan. Ukistaafu, basi tunalipa 1/3 ama theluthi moja as a cash lump sum. So 1/3, kama uko na 10 million by the time una retire, tunakata mara 3. Hiyo ya kwanza tunakupatia kama pesa taslimu to go home with. Hii ingine ambayo imebakia, basi unanunua annuity ama kuna income drawdown squeeze, na kutoka hapo utapata pension ya kila mwezi. So 1/3 ni yako, utapewa kama pesa taslimu. There is that option. Hiyo ingine ambayo inabakia, basi unaenda kuchukua kama pension from an annuity provider ama from an IDD provider. Jambo la kuongeza hapo ni kwamba pia sio lazima uchukue the 1/3, unaweza peleka yote kwa annuity provider. Na jambo hii inamaanisha kwamba pension ambayo utapata itakuwa kubwa kidogo kuliko ukichukua 1/3 kama pesa taslimu. Ukiamua kutoka Kenya, basi unapesiwa pesa yote, unapatiwa pesa yote as a cash lump sum. Uende hiyo pesa ikusaidie kwa nchi ambayo umeenda. La mwisho, na hili liliangaziwa na pia educators, ni mambo la nomination of beneficiary. Kuna hiyo form ambayo tunajaza wale watu ambao tunataka tukiitwa mbele ya haki, basi hawa ndio watu tunataka scheme iwapatie pesa ambayo tutakuwa tumechanga. Na langu ni kusisitiza kwamba ni hii ni document ambayo tunahitaji kujaza kila wakati ambapo maisha imegeuka. Kuna wale walijaza walipoingia KPA, walipokuwa vijana wadogo, wameoana ama wameolewa, wako na watoto. But the form ambayo pension scheme iko nayo ni ile walinominate maybe their parents wakati ambao waliajiriwa. So ni muhimu kuhakikisha kwamba form yenyewe iko updated, umeweka wale wote ambao unafikiria watakuwa greatly affected wakati ambao umeenda, na kuensure kwamba umeweka kila mtu. Next one. So in terms of what to consider, ni kuhakikisha kwamba wale wote ambao umeweka, asilimia ambao umewekea kila mtu inaongeza na ina add up to 100%. The names are correct. Jina zote ziko sahihi, it is signed, and witnessed fully. So one of the things I like to mention nikija kwa form hizi ni kwamba it is confidential. Hakuna mtu ambaye anaonyeshwa form yako baada ya wewe kujaza. So hakikisha kwamba umeweka watu wote ambao unafikiria will suffer when you are not there. So ningependa kumalizia hapo na kuwashukuru members kwa kuja katika AGM, na nitachukua maswali yote ambayo mtakuwa nayo wakati wa Q&A. Asante sana.
Thank you, Lewis. Chair, with your permission, allow me now to invite the regulator, represented by Mr. John Kerr. Karibu.
Thank you. Kibet, mwenyekiti na wanachama wa Board of Trustees wa DC na DB, watoaji huduma, service providers, wanachama wa scheme hii ya DC na washikadau wote, hamjambo. Ningependa kuanza na kutuma salamu za afisa wetu mkuu mtendaji Bwana Charles Mashira, ambaye ndio kiongozi wetu pale RBA. Amewasalimia sana. Pia pokeeni salamu za scheme officer wenu Bwana John Muli, ambaye yeye ndio alikuwa hapa mwaka jana. Yeye pia ametuma salamu zake. Mmepokea hizo salamu? Sasa mambo yangu ni matatu asubuhi hii ya leo. Ni kuongea kuhusu status ya scheme yenu, alafu kuwapatia industry developments ama maendeleo ambayo yamekuja kutokea mwaka uliopita hadi wa sasa katika sekta hii. Lakini kabla niongee mambo hayo, ni kuwakumbusha tu kuwa jukumu letu kama Retirement Benefits Authority ni kuhakikisha kuwa tunasimamia scheme zenu hii ya KPA na zile zingine zote ambazo kwa sasa ni kama 1000 katika taifa letu la Kenya, kuzisimamia kuhakikisha kuwa zinaendelezwa vizuri. Kwa hivyo kazi yetu tunafanya na ushirikiano na nyinyi na washikadau wote wa hizi schemes. Kwa hivyo jambo la kwanza nililopenda kusema ni kuwa tukiangalia status ya scheme yenu ama hali ya scheme yenu, ni kuwa kiupande wa compliance ama kutii ile sheria ambayo imewekwa kuendeleza ama kusimamia scheme yenu, ni kuwa scheme yenu inafata ile sheria na iko compliant, 100% compliance in terms of hiyo sheria. Kwa hivyo zile ripoti zilizosemwa kuwa zinatumwa, ni kweli tunazipata kutoka watoaji huduma wenu, na zile ripoti tunapozipata huwa tunazikagua, tunazianalyze kuhakikisha kuwa yale mambo mle ndani tumeweza kujua ni mambo gani yanaendelea katika scheme, na kama kuna lolote ambalo tuko na swali tunaweza kuuliza secretary wenu ama secretariat yenu na trustees wenu. Jambo la pili ambalo tunafanya ni supervision. Na kwa sababu tunapokea zile reports na tuna maswali huwa tunataka kuuliza kuhusu ile content ya zile reports, ningependa kusema tu kuwa tulifanya inspection ya scheme yenu February mwaka huu. Hiyo inspection ilikuwa inakagua mambo yaliyofanyika mwaka uliopita, na tuliweza kupata mwelekeo mzuri, kupata uelewano mzuri wa vile ile hii scheme yenu inaendelezwa. In terms of mambo ya utawala, governance, tuliweza kujua ile mikakati ambayo iko, mambo ya financial management ambayo iko, na mambo ya conduct ya hiyo scheme. So hiyo inspection ilifanyika, report ilifanyika, na yale mambo ambayo tulikuwa tumeraise yote yaliweza kujibiwa, mengine yanaendelea kujibiwa. Kwa hivyo tuko na furaha kuwa hii scheme ni scheme mojawapo ambazo zinaweza kuwa mfano mzuri na kwa scheme zingine katika hii sekta, especially hii sekta ya public sector. Kwa hivyo jipigieni makofi kwa kuweza kuchagua trustees wazuri ama stewards wazuri ambao wanaweza kuendeleza hii scheme yenu. Kitu cha tatu ni kuwa pia ningetaka kuwahakikishia pale RBA hizi schemes huwa zinapewa ranking ya risk. Tunaita risk rating. Ile ya chini zaidi ni 1 ambayo ndio nzuri, alafu ya juu zaidi ni 5 ambayo ndio mbaya. Kama risk rating yako iko number 5, basi hapo tutakuangazia kila siku. Lakini kama iko chini, basi hapo tunajua mambo yanaendelea sawa. Kwa hivyo baada ya ule ukaguzi uliofanywa February, risk rating ya scheme yenu ilishuka to below 2. Kwa hivyo very low risk rating ambalo ni jambo zuri. Kwa hivyo pia hapo ningependa kuwasihi muendelee hivyo. Alafu takwimu ya mwisho ambayo ningependa kuizingatia ni hii ya returns. Nimesikia rather kuwa mumepata returns za 18%. Ndivyo ama sivyo? Ni 18%? Yeah? Na hili ni jambo la kihistoria. Tumesikia hiyo. Is it the highest? Imepatikana. Basi ningeomba muendelee hivyo. Hii ni benchmark mpya na hii iwe sasa ndio baseline ya the future. Kwa hivyo muendelee ili nyinyi pesa zenu ziendelee kukua kwa kiwango hicho kila mwaka. Zikiendelea kukua kwa kiwango hiki, basi najua mtakapofika umri wa kustaafu, mtakuwa na kitita ambacho kitaweza kuwatosheleza kujikimu baada ya life in retirement. Na hilo ndio jambo ambalo sisi tunataka kuhakikisha kuwa watu wanapostaafu wanaenda na pesa ambazo zitawatosha ili wawe na dignity in retirement. Kwa hivyo ningeomba muendelee hivyo. Kwa hivyo wajua mafanikio ya scheme kama hii ni ushirikiano wa kila shikadau ambaye anahusika na ile scheme. Kwa hivyo nyinyi kama wanachama, nimesikia kuwa kutakuwa na elections na mtakuwa na fursa ya kupigia kura trustee ambaye ataweza kuwawakilisha kuendelea mbele. Nitaomba mchukue muda wenu kuwakagua wote ambao wanasimama na mchague yule ambaye atawafaa nyinyi katika siku zenu za usoni. Msiangalie tu leo na kesho, angalieni siku pia za usoni. Mumesikia kuwa tulibadilisha sheria, sasa ile term ya trustee si 3 years tena ni 5 years. Kwa hivyo wao wanaambatana na pia wabunge wetu na hata so 5 years is a long time kwa mtu kama atakuwa na kusimamia ama na kuwakilisha wewe. Kwa hivyo hakikisha umechagua mtu ambaye atakufaa wewe, somebody accessible, mtu ambaye anakuelewa wewe na anaweza kusimamia mambo yako, maisha yako ya usoni. Kwa hivyo hapo ningewaomba muhakikishe kuwa mtapiga kura kisawasawa. Jambo lingine, hususan wale ambao labda hawako hapa, na waomba pia mujihusishe na mambo ya scheme. Nimesikia kuwa wanachama, how many members does this scheme have? 6,000. Lakini hapa hata hatuna 10%. Labda tukiwajumlisha na wale ambao wako online, mnaweza kuwa labda mnafikisha hiyo. Hao wengine wako wapi? Je, hawajali kuhusu pesa zao? Kwa hivyo najua kuna wengine wako kazi, lakini najua pia wengine hawakuja tu. Na hii siku iliwekwa Jumamosi ili mpate fursa ya kuja zaidi. So please participate in your scheme activities. This is your life. Hii tunawafanyia nyinyi. Kama hamngekuwa, hatungekuwa tunasimama hapa. Kwa hivyo ninaomba tafadhali, please participate in your scheme activities. Sponsor tumemsikia ameongea, amecommit kuhakikisha kuwa contributions zitalipwa. Tumsupport. Trustees, fiduciary responsibilities, wanazijua. Waendelee hivyo. Service providers, professionalism, tumeona vile wamereport hapa. Tuendelee hivyo. Na sisi kama regulator, tunahakikisha kuwa tutaendeleza mandate yetu ili tuweze kuwawezesha mstaafu na haki na hadhi nzuri. Ya mwisho ni kuongea kuhusu industry developments. Kenya inabadilika. Dunia pia inabadilika, na haya mabadiliko yanaleta opportunities lakini pia yanaleta threats. So inabidi sisi kama sector pia tuweze kuadapt, kuhakikisha kuwa zile opportunities tunazi exploit na zile threats tunajikinga nazo. Kwa hivyo kama regulator kuna sheria tofauti tofauti ambazo imebidi tuzikague na tuzireview ili tuweze kuadapt kisawasawa. Sheria ya kwanza ni ya ununuzi ama procurement. Mbeleni schemes walikuwa wanafuatilia ile inaitwa Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Scheme kama yenu ya public entity walikuwa wanafuatilia hiyo act. Lakini koti ikasema pesa zenu zikienda kwa scheme ni pesa za binafsi. Kwa hivyo ile scheme ni scheme binafsi, haipaswi kufuatilia sheria ya public organizations. Kwa hivyo wakasema watoe schemes kama zenu kwa kufuatilia ile sheria ili trustees wenu wawe na flexibility, wawe na uwezo wa kufanya timely procurements ama disposals, ambalo ni jambo hapo mbeleni lilikuwa linacheleweshwa na kwa sababu ya nitasema ni bureaucracy, ama walikuwa lazima wapate idhini kutoka vitengo tofauti tofauti vya kiserikali, lakini sasa wamepewa hilo jukumu. Kwa hivyo wanaweza kureact in a timely manner. Hii inamaanisha nini kwako wewe ama mimi kama mwanachama? Ni kumaanisha kukitokea opportunity yoyote, trustees wanaweza kuifuatilia and within the shortest time wanaweza kuiexploit, ambalo ni jambo ambalo litaweza kuhakikisha kuwa in future pia tutapata 18% ama hata zaidi 20% kama the environment itawezesha. Mumenielewa hapo? Tuko pamoja? Jambo la pili ni Finance Act ambayo ilipitishwa juzi. Finance Act ikija mambo ya pension, kuna mambo kadha wa kadha, lakini nitazingatia mawili. Kuna hizi zinaitwa death benefits. Wakati nitakapofunga macho na niko na benefits zangu ambazo nilikuwa bado sijalipwa, zitalipwa wale beneficiaries wangu. Mbeleni wale beneficiaries walikuwa wanatozwa ushuru, lakini sasa hawatatozwa ushuru. In short, hizo death benefits zimeingizwa katika orodha ambazo zile benefits zinakuwa exempted. Kwa hivyo mnakumbuka 2024 kulipitishwa sheria, wewe ukistaafu unapata pesa zako, retirement zako tax free. Si mnakumbuka hivyo? Lakini sasa wakati ulikuwa utaaga dunia, wale beneficiaries wako wakipokea zile pesa walikuwa wanatozwa ushuru. Nafikiri ilikuwa ni oversight hiyo 2024, lakini sasa imesawazishwa, wao pia hawatatozwa ushuru, ambao sasa inamaanisha watapokea pesa zaidi wakienda jambo hilo likitokea. Kitu kingine ni tax treatment ya gratuity. Najua nyinyi ni permanent and pensionable, lakini kuna wenzenu ambao huwa wako on contract na huwa wanapokea gratuity. Kwa hivyo pia kuna sheria, kuna tax benefits ambazo zimeongezwa hapo za wale watu ambao wanapokea gratuity, ili kuweza kusawazisha watu wa permanent and pensionable in terms of rights, labor rights or tax rights, na wale ambao wako on contract. Zaidi mtaelezwa kwa member education. Sahihi, najua tunaharakisha. Pia tunaendeleza ku-implement National Retirement Benefits Policy, na pia tuko na mapendekezo mengine ambayo tunataka kupeleka bunge ili waweze kuyazingatia. Haya ni mapendekezo kuhusu mambo na access ya hizi pesa zetu ambazo ziko kwa scheme. Tunajua kuwa mara nyingine kunatokea situations ambayo hauko kazini lakini uko na pesa kwa scheme. Je, kuna uwezekano zile pesa zinaweza kukufaa, lakini bado ziwe ziko hapo kwa scheme ambazo zitakufaa, zinaweza kukufaa sasa, lakini pia zikufae baadaye. Kwa hivyo tunaangalia mikakati ya kuwa kama kunaweza kuwa na partial access ya through sub accounts. Ni jambo ambalo bado tunaendelea kuongea, ili Mkenya ambaye amehifadhi pesa awe anaweza labda kusaidika in the short term, but at the same time tuna preserve a larger amount for the future. Mambo mengine ni ya investment. Tumekuwa tukikopa kama taifa, na sasa tunajiambia hatuwezi kuendelea kukopa, lazima tutafute suluhu kindani. Ndio maana ndugu Rais amekuwa akiongea kuhusu infrastructure fund. Sasa sisi kama pension sector tumeambiwa pia tuweze kusupport yale mambo ya infrastructure fund, na support yetu ni kuwa tuweze kuongeza katika investment options hayo mambo ya direct investment in infrastructure projects. Hii ni option, si kulazimishwa. Ni trustees wakiangalia wangamue kuwa hapa ipo opportunity nzuri ya kuwekeza katika miundo msingi, basi wao wanaweza kuinvest directly. Lakini ni jambo ambalo pia linazingatiwa na tunaliongea. I'm sure kabla huu mwaka uishe hayo mambo yatakuwa yamekuwa clarified. Kwa hivyo kuna mambo kadha wa kadha pia ya sustainability ambayo pia tunapaswa kuzingatia. Dunia inabadilika siku hizi. Nyinyi mko katika transport sector, mnajua hizi meli zinapokuja zina mafuta, zinaathiri mazingira kama ni pollution ama vitu kama hivyo. Kwa hivyo siku hizi tunaambiwa tuwe environmentally conscious. So kuna hili neno limetokezea, lazima operations zetu ziwe sustainable, ambayo nimeangalia kwenye internet inasema ni uendelevu katika ukitranslate Kiswahili. So mambo ya sustainability pia inabidi sisi kama regulator tuyaangalie. So sustainability ni ya environment, ya jamii na mambo ya utawala. Kwa hivyo pia tutatoa guidelines ama mwongozo wa mambo ya sustainability. Kwa hivyo haya yote ni ya kuhakikisha kuwa in future we are there, we can enjoy our retirement benefits in a clean environment, and in doing so we are acting responsibly. So hayo mambo ndio nilikuwa ningetaka kuwaambia in terms of industry development. Ya kumalizia ni tu kuwaomba uwiano, ushirikiano ili tuweze kukuza hii sekta yetu. Chairman amesema kwa sasa tuko 2.8 trillion Kenya shillings. Tunataka sisi by the time tunafika 2029 ambayo ndio strategic period yetu tuwe tumepita 3.4 trillion Kenya shillings. Na hiyo inawezekana tu kama nyinyi mtaendelea kucontribute, investments zitakuwa, na hizi by the way hizi pesa ni zenu, si kwa ati ni pesa zenu, na hiyo itamaanisha kuwa nyinyi mtakuwa mnastaafu with adequate retirement benefits. So huo ushirikiano ndio ninaomba. Asanteni sana na watakia kila laheri.
Thank you so much, Mr. John Kerr, for that wonderful presentation. Members, sasa imefika ule wakati wa maswali. Alafu trustees wawape jibu kulingana na ripoti iliyosomwa leo hapa mbele yenu, kuanzia ripoti ya auditor, fund manager, custodian, the actuary na pia RBA ambaye yuko hapa. So tayari tuna maswali kutoka online viewers. Lakini kabla hatujajibu ya online viewers, pia tungependa tuwape fursa nyinyi ambao mko hapa physically muulize maswali ndio body iweze kuwajibu. So Mr. Nges, you can give out the mic.
Hello.
Wakati unapouliza swali unasema jina lako, alafu swali liwe very brief and to the point. Tafadhali.
Naomba hivi, kwa sababu tuko kwa YouTube, wewe kuja tu na heshima zako, because we are mature people, ask question which can take us somewhere. Tafadhalini. Kuja tu, pia wa family yako waone vile unauliza swali, wacheke, kuja kidogo hapa. Nani anaanza maswali? Dakika kidogo na unaenda kukaa chini. Unajua sisi watu wa DC pesa yetu ni nyingi, hatuna shida nyingi. Just come.
Habari zenu members. I have only one question. With this repeal,
Gina.
Oh, my name is Lawrence Lawi Odera. Now, with this repeal that took place in the parliament, if I'm not wrong, 2018, whereby now KPA's autonomy seemed to have been put on focus. It gave way to this new PPP, 3 Ps, public-private partnership. My question is very simple. Now that KPA's autonomy has been put on focus, we as members, whereby we know that you normally give 10% and authority gives 20%, will this new development affect the scheme? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwana Lawi. Next. Just come. Huh? Nani? Wapi?
Samahani Bwana Ngesi. My name is Vincent Gumo, na mimi na maswali mawili tu. Tukienda pale page 48 on investments, tunaona pale tuko na hizi offshore investments around 497 million. But lakini tukirudi page 66, return on investments, we don't see what we are getting from the offshore investments. Tungependa tafadhali mutuelezee labda zimewekwa mahali kwingine. Page 66. The same on page 66. Tuko na return on investments number 6 ya treasury bonds of 2.8 billion. And at the same time, tukienda hapo chini number 7, tuko na fair value change ya treasury bonds ya 1.2. In my understanding, fair value inamaanisha this is money that has not been realized. What measures are you putting in place to ensure that this fair value, naona mwaka huu imeimprove, last year was 2 billion, this year is 1.2 billion. What measures ambao mumeweka to ensure that this fair value is at its lowest?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next. Ama tujibu hizo kwanza. Aye. Administrator, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Gumo. The questions by Gumo will be answered by Abdi. But wait a bit. Abdi will answer the question from Gumo together with the auditor, Mr. Obiria, with regards to whether the offshore investments returns are part of the accumulated return in the fund on page 66. I didn't get quite clearly the question for Lawrence Odero. I didn't get quite clearly, but maybe we'll pardon me later, because I thought it was about the GOE Act. I didn't get quite clearly the question, but nonetheless, we'll be able to pick it up as we progress. There are other questions, Chair, that have been asked by our online viewers. We have a member called Jasmine Chebiagon, who has asked a question on the YouTube page. This goes to RBA. How often is the RBA inspection done? Is it quarterly or yearly? And that goes to Mr. Kerr. Another question is, again, from a lady called Leah Cherotich. If money is invested, that is the 10% and the 20% from the sponsor, is the interest given monthly or on an annual basis? The same person has also asked that in case she requires custodial reports or information from the custodian about the scheme, can she walk to any KCB branch in the country and be given the report? So we'll also be responding to that. That's Lena, sorry. And then there's a gentleman who has asked about what is the qualification to be elected as a trustee. Yeah, so those are some of the questions that have been asked. Again, there's one of our active members virtually. She's called Phoebe Nyambok. She's asked very good questions, and I will, one, she said, this goes to Abdi on investments. What long-term investment strategies do we have in place to sustain the good investment returns in mind? The 2027 is an election year. I think, Abdi, you have that question. There's a question with the Board of Trustees. Has the scheme fully implemented the IDD, Income Drawdown Fund, so that members can be advised accordingly? Do we have, she has also asked whether the scheme has any outstanding tax obligations that can be addressed by KRA Tax Amnesty 2026 so that accumulated interest penalties can be waived. So this is from Phoebe Nyambok, online attendee from ICD Nairobi. So those are the questions from our online viewers. Maybe I would start from Abdi.
Thank you very much, Bernard, Chairman, Board of Trustees, trustees both for the DC and the DB scheme, the Secretariat, members, all distinguished guests, good afternoon. Hamjamboni. Kwa majina najulikana kama Mohamed Abdi kutoka Jena Africa. Si ni mmoja wa afisa wa wekezaji ama manager wa wekezaji wa the DC Fund or the KPA Pension Fund 2012. Kuna maswali imeulizwa, ya kwanza ni nafikiri kulikuwa na ile swali ya online. What long-term investment strategies do we have in place to sustain the good investment returns in mind that 2027 is election year? So when it comes to the fund is largely managed under an investment policy statement. So the investment policy statement is what will guide us. So as your fund managers, what we do closer to an election period, because of the high volatilities that we register both on the interest rates as well as the equity market, we try ensure that we go a bit more conservative. So the wins we've had over the last 2 years, 2024, 2025, 2026, we expect another good year. But as we turn into next year with the political environment, we will always expect volatility. So what we are going to do is we are going to remain largely conservative in terms of our allocation, but we still see very good opportunities, especially in the equity markets. Remember, around the election period, we see a lot of investors take a lot of profit. So we will be also strategically looking to buy some of those opportunities into the fund with the view of long-term strategic, building long-term strategic assets over time. Offshore is another area where we want to continue diversifying into. The fund has a very small allocation. The fund being about 35 billion with only 500 million or so in offshore. I think there is much more we can do on that end. And then we're also working with the trustees as far as alternative investments is concerned. So we have a lot of discussions around that, and we are well guided on that end. So there will be a lot of emphasis to ensure we continue diversifying the fund. The other question is around, I think, the gentleman around PPP investments and the impact it has on the fund. I think that was the context, if I'm not wrong. So PPP investments is an area that we've seen the government really take a lot of keen interest. For instance, of course, the MD mentioned in his speech that this is an area that we probably will focus going forward as part of the investment for the fund. But what we are going to do, we are going to focus on those opportunities based on the investment merits that they bring on board. We will work very closely with the board and the secretariat in terms of due diligence. So we will not just invest in any opportunity without doing proper research and ensuring that it's within the investment objectives and the risk profile of the fund. So there's a lot happening on that space. We'll keep you informed. For now, it doesn't have a particular direct impact on the fund, but going forward, it's an area that we will look at based on the merits of the investments. Offshore investments, I think there was a gentleman who asked the question. When you go to page 66, the return on investments, he doesn't see anything on offshore. But if you could go to the same page 66, that will be note 7. You will note that offshore investments don't have a direct income that is coming. So it's largely driven by fair value. So offshore investments are investments that we largely do through equities in the offshore markets. And if you to look at page 66, for the period ended 2025, the fund was able to register 49,354,676 compared to a very low level of return in 2024. So it does have an impact in terms of your returns. And then the last question, I think, on the investment side was on the bonds. I think the idea, the question was, we are seeing a lot of very high realized returns under note 6, page 66 of 2.8 billion, but we are also seeing about 1.2 billion in the treasury bonds fair value changes. So fair value changes largely are driven by how interest rates are moving, and for the period under review 2025, there was an impact of around 1.2 billion, which also goes towards the value of the fund, but ultimately the fair value changes are not distributable. So zile fair value changes, depending on how interest rates are moving, that doesn't really affect your return directly. What really affects your return directly is the realized income on bonds. So we'll always have, the bond valuation going up and down over time. But if you to look at your accounts, there is a part of your accounts that talks about the reserve. That reserve portion takes into account and accounts for the yearly movements of fair value changes. So it doesn't necessarily affect you. But I think the question was, how can we get a big portion of that 1.2 billion coming through on the realized side? So we work very closely as your fund managers to ensure whenever we have an opportunity to sell out of a position, we actually take advantage of that. And ultimately, over time, you'll see that there's a lot more trading, a lot more focus. But if you look at what we've been able to deliver, the 2.8 billion is much higher than the 1.2 billion that was registered in 2025. And if you to look at that number compared to 2024, you'll see that number was much higher. So meaning that there's a little bit more focus by your fund managers to try realize a bit more on the treasury bonds. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdi. I think you've done justice to those investment questions. I'll invite RBA to to take the question on inspection, and also there's a member called Ernest Mbalanya. He has asked online whether the law can be changed for members to receive dividends. So equally, I would like the regulator to respond.
Thank you for your questions. Inspections are done periodically now. Ordinarily, it should be annually, where the scheme status warrants it. There are cases where we have not even done an inspection in some schemes because they are well run. Inspections, what informs inspections are scheme size. So like last year, we were inspecting all schemes above a certain threshold. Your scheme met that particular criteria. Its fund value was significant, so we said we are going to inspect that particular scheme. So inspections, there's no defined in law, there's no defined period. It is as and when we assess and decide as the regulator. Over and above that, but the only issue is that what we use to conduct inspections are the returns, and those returns are submitted to us quarterly. So that's the distinction, and that's how we determine who to inspect or who not to inspect. Now, can the law be changed for members to receive dividends? I want to believe that this member is likening a scheme to a SACCO, where a SACCO, you are paid interest on your savings, and also you get dividends on the share capital that you have placed in there. The other way you can get dividends is if you have invested in what is called a stock or an equity in the stock exchange. In both cases, the basis is an equity or a share. Now, when you look at the structure of a retirement scheme, your ownership or your membership there is not based on a share. It is based on your savings and your contribution. So what you get from that particular saving and contribution is interest. Yeah? There is no equity or share with which you can then earn a dividend. So because of that, it is not possible to change the law so that then you can get dividends. The only way you will benefit as a member indirectly from dividends is if your scheme invests in the stock exchange shares, that scheme earns dividends from those particular shares, and then those dividends are distributed to you as part and parcel of your interest. So that is the basis at the moment. Thank you.
I continue to receive questions online. And I think the first question for Phoebe has been responded to. The other one is, has the scheme fully implemented the IDD? No, we are in the progress of implementing it, pending some few documentations for approval with the authority. Do we have any outstanding tax obligations as a scheme that we can benefit from the amnesty? No. As a scheme, we remain compliant in paying all our taxes in time. So at no point do we wait for amnesty so that we can be able to pay our taxes. Additionally, there's a member called Hussein who has also asked online that he believes that he is a member of SHA, Social Health Authority Program, and he says that this program, can't this cover for medical when we retire? Yes, I'll say yes, but it is important to augment with another cover, because all of us know that the limitations of this social insurance cover. There's another question from somebody called Alice Kariuki. She says, when you retire before the investment returns for that year have been declared, what happens? It is simple. In case you leave in 2026, for example, in the month of July, you retire, Once the returns for 2026 are declared next year, 2027, we will pay you what we call differential interest. So that will be paid to you. Last year, the Board of Trustees paid differential interest for members who retired from 2013 to 2024. So that has been addressed. So for Alice, rest assured, the scheme will consider your differential interest as at when you exit mid-term or mid-year. The other question from Lena was if money is invested, is the return distributed quarterly or annual basis? The answer is that we do our interest distribution on an annual basis. And they are normally done after the financial settlements have been audited and approved by the Board of Trustees. So it's annual, not monthly. In case you require any report, can I walk to any KCB? No. That one is a no. Remember, KCB don't even know you. They know you maybe if you have a current account with them. But they don't know you whether you are a member of KPA Retirement Benefits Scheme. So for such information, custodial report can only be obtained from the Board of Trustees. You can't get it from any KCB branch that you may be near you. And of course, for data protection, KCB cannot be issuing documents to people they don't know. There's a question here about the qualifications of a trustee. I don't know who asked that question. But there was a question about qualification of a trustee. Yeah, it's called Jasmine. Oh, Jasmine again. I don't know whether she wants to vie, but the qualification of a trustee, according to this scheme, is determined by the election policy, which has the qualifications of one to be elected as a trustee. And top of my head, one is that you must be a member of the scheme, either a deferred member or an active contributing member, as long as you still have money in the scheme. But if you have retired and you have taken all your money in the DC, including buying an annuity, you are no longer a member of the DC scheme. So number one, you must be a member of the DC scheme. Number two, one of the qualifications is that you must be nominated and supported by at least 100 supporters who are the members of the scheme. Number three is that you must meet the criteria of what you call the fit and proper test that will be issued by the election committee. Number four is that what was the other one? I've forgotten. I've said you must be a member, you must have been supported, fit and proper test, you must have not served the Board of Trustees that you want to vie for more than 2 terms. So those are some of the critical things you need to look at. And then education is O level. O level, we don't say either you got an A or a B or a C or a D. We just say, or an E. I'm reminded an E also exists. So we just say O-level certificate, KCA certificate, or equivalent. That is the bare minimum that we would like to have. Or if you people want us to increase those qualifications, I think the comments will be received from you, so that can be relayed to the elections committee to consider in future. If you believe those qualifications need to be raised a bit. But basically, those are the qualifications that one is required to be able to vie as a trustee of the DC scheme. Thank you. Any other question? Second round of questions. There's a gentleman there, and there's a lady there.
Come. Huh?
The chairman, trustees, service providers, and members. I'm Jambo. Yes, my name is Joseph Cheki. Nina swali moja tu kwamba when I retire, as a DC, I'm no longer a member. So my question is, why don't you also change the annuity, which is 2/3, that is the income drawdown, to liquidity, instead of 1/3 liquidity, to be 2/3, so that I go home with 2/3. You remain with 1/3, which you'll be earning, because I can see we have investment advisory firms, financial advisory, so that they enjoy, because life is now 1, 2, 3 steps is undefined. If it's not clear, I repeat. Is it clear?
When did you retire?
Pardon?
When did you retire?
When did I retire? Wait, you cannot answer for me. I'm here. Do I look like someone who has retired? I'm not yet there, but I've asked the question of 2/3 liquidity, 1/3 as annuity. Because when I retire as DC, I'm no longer a member. Why don't you also capture the 2/3 liquidity, then 1/3 annuity?
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you so much.
Nimepata vizuri. Not only will ask the regulator to respond. There's a lady there. On my left.
Nani? Deborah.
Yes, the trustees, wafanyikazi wenzangu wa mjambo.
Jambo.
I have two.
Gina?
Yes, my name is Deborah Olo from Container Operations. Niko na maswali mawili. First question. I'm asking this and it is not the first time. So maybe you take your time to note it down and look into it very closely. We stay here we leave this place at around 60 years old to exit the workspace. You go face the outside world. At around 55 years or 10 years too, ina depend na kila mtu. An individual might be not ready kifedha. Anaweza kuwa na struggle akiwa kwa employment. What is the point of suffering? Maybe due to several dynamics in the workplace, and you need money, but you're saving only to access this money at 60 years old. Can there be a mechanism, or is it there? Is it provided somewhere? And if not, why can't it check out that mtu anaweza access pesa yake, pasenti fulani, afanyie mambo yake, akiwa bado ni mzima na ako strong? We know that even insurance, ukiwa unaelekea miaka 80, 70, they even refuse to take some people. So even in employment, as you hit your 60, you are declining. 55, you are declining. So when we are still strong in our mindset and we can do something with our money at 55 or so, can't we access this money, some percentage? I'm not saying everything. And part 2 of it, as you access this money, it's not like you are going away, or it should be optional. Mwenye anabaki anaweza access pia naendelee kufanya kazi. Kindly, I need an answer on that. Thank you. The second question. We've made some huge profits. I came a bit late, sorry. Karibu 7 billion from a clarification from a neighbor here. We live in a place where we are now faced with a lot of inflation. Na kuna wenzetu wali retire 5 years ago, na kuna mtu ana retire sai. My question is, do they benefit the same, or hawa wasai wanapata zaidi kwa sababu sasa profit pia imekuwa zaidi? Also, part 2 of that second question is, tuko na wenzetu wanatoka Lunga, maybe Taita. They want to come to attend this meeting. Due to the huge profits again, do they, have we considered to add payment on their fare to arrive to this place? Because if we are investing well, then we should also live well. like kama tunalipwa whatever amounts right now, even the sitting people, when we come and attend, especially these people that stay up to time and they listen until time, can they be paid more now that we've made money and we are good savers and we aspire to save more again? So maswali yangu ni hayo. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thanks, my sister. Next.
Okay, thank you. My name is Farah.
Sorry?
Farah Ismail.
Farah.
Yeah, my name is Farah Ismail. My question is brief. About medical. Some of us, medical, the amount when you retire, the such amount of yani limit amount ambayo unasema hii medical qualified post medical retirement and kama umebaki kama 10 years ama 5 years, yani most of us the contribution you contribute some amount if you not qualified which amount kwanza amount kana ambayo mtu anaweza yani medical yani amount of medical sawa. The other issue is nataka kuuliza swali moja ingine, mtu kama immigration ameretire ameenda nchi nyingine, can you clarify for us? He said anachukua 100% of his lump sum. Please tuambie kule nani vile inakuwa.
Thank you, Ismail.
Do you have anybody?
Thank you. I'll start with the question for Ismail. If you leave this country for another country, what are you going to get from the scheme? The trust deeds provides that you will be paid 100% of your benefits, but you must satisfy the board of trustees that you have no intentions of coming back. So once that principle is satisfied, then the trustees can give you 100%. But in the event they are not satisfied, they can always pay you what is provided for in law, 50%. But if you satisfy all the documentations required for you to provide, then you'll be paid 100%. You've also asked a very good question on the level of contributions to the post-retirement medical fund, especially when someone is about to retire, 5 years, 10 years, to retire. Indeed, the contributions that may be required of you could be very high, because you may want a certain level of cover, but you have very limited time to contribute to get that benefit. So that is a challenge that exists. And the Board of Trustees is considering engaging the sponsor for some seed capital to support the establishment or ring-fence the establishment of the post-retirement medical fund in this scheme. But be it as it may, the regulations do allow that even what you have contributed towards pension, your financial security in retirement, you can utilize up to 10%. So you can take 10% of your entire pension and move it to a medical fund. Because remember, as you said, if you have very short time and the projection is telling you you are required to contribute 100,000 or 150,000 per month, that will be difficult for most, if not all, employees. So the regulation says, 1, you can transfer 10% of your pension fund at retirement to the medical fund. 2, the Board of Trustees is in engagement with the sponsor to see if they can provide a seed capital to the PRMF for the employees who are still in KPA, not for ones who have already retired. Then there was a question from Joseph. I think that will be responded to by the regulator. Why can't we change from 2/3 to 1/3 That will be responded by Mr. Care. And then equally, the question from Deborah, the first questions on, is there a way with which members of the scheme can partially access these retirement benefits instead of waiting until retirement, yet they're actually suffering, currently. So I think that's a question to the regulator as well. The question also from Deborah is that, do those members who have retired, like for example, we've earned very good returns of 7 billion, do they benefit? On this one, if you have retired 5 years ago and you've left the scheme, you are no longer a member of the scheme. So it's only those who are members of the fund that will benefit from this return. And as I said earlier, that if you retired last year, for example, in July, these returns that was earned for last year will be paid to you, even if you left last year. But if you retired 5 years ago and interest has been paid to you fully, then you have no claim against the scheme under whatever circumstance. Then she has put a question that there are some of our friends in Taita, Msambweni, who would have wished to come to this place. I'm surprised because I thought the employees of KPA are within Mombasa, especially the Mombasa port. We know the others in Lamu. We know, because basically this AGM is for active members. Yeah. So members of KPA, active members are in Mombasa, are in Lamu, are in Nairobi, Kisumu, and Naivasha. Maybe those who are in Mombasa, maybe their homeland is in Taita, their homeland in Msambweni. But when we make reference to a pension scheme of this nature, we are actually required to be holding our meetings within their work environment. I will invite my trustees to chime in later on the issues of transport allowance. But what I would want to comment is that even if the scheme earns 10 billion or 5 billion, all those returns are distributed to members. So there's nothing that will say we have to divide, give ourselves something because the scheme has earned more. There's nothing like that. So all the funds will be distributed to you at the end of the year. So I will invite Care to come and respond to those two questions.
Thank you once again for those questions, members. So the first question by my brother, who was asking about the structure of benefit payment. So in this case, scenario ni kuwa amechukua annuity, ambayo the law says only 1/3 can be accessed as a lump sum, and 2/3 is then now what is used to purchase an annuity. His proposal is, why can't we invert so that somebody goes home with 2/3 and then 1/3 is what purchases an annuity. So a few things, some background information is that we want, the whole purpose of saving for retirement is so that you can sustain a standard of living after you have been working. And we appreciate that we do not know how long you are going to live after you've retired. Statistically, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics say that life expectancy for the average Kenyan, if you retire today, is 86.4 years, which means that you are going to live statistically for another 26.4 years. What that then means is that your money that is being paid to you in retirement at least has to last that long. An annuity, there are two types. An annuity would ordinarily lapse upon your death. Okay, that is how it has been designed, unless it is guaranteed. Now, if on average it lapses upon your death, And statistically, we are being told that you are going to live for about 20 or 30 years for that particular matter. Then it means that whatever amount that has been transferred to the annuity, to purchase the annuity, must last that long period. The other factor is that we know the standard of living is constantly changing. So the cost of bread today is not going to be the cost of bread in 5, 10, 20, 30 years. So there's need to factor those aspects when we are pricing an annuity, so that then it can be able to adequately provide for your standard of living after you retire. And that's why when it came to the design of annuities, the decision was made to go 1/3, take 1/3 of your lump sum today, then the other 2/3 is adequate enough to provide for you a decent income through the pension that the annuity gets for you. If you invert it and you take more as a lump sum, and then less goes into the purchase of the annuity, then what the outcome will be is you will end up getting a very small amount that will not be adequate to cater for the standard of living that we are promising through these retirement schemes. So the whole idea is that you have to have an adequate amount to retire with that can afford you the necessary requirements, necessary lifestyle options that you will want in retirement. I am not an actuary, but I know there are many other factors that go into the pricing of an annuity. So, but I've talked about life expectancy, the cost of living. There are several other factors that are there. But in summary, that is the whole idea. We save, or rather we use more to purchase because you may live even beyond what statistically we've been told. If you ask me, I would even want to get to 95, 100. In such a case, the insurance company will still have to pay you that annuity, that amount, that pension. So you see the risk is long-term. And where it is for life, they cannot estimate when I am going to stop living. So they have to prepare for that eventuality that I may even get to 100 and beyond, and they will still have to honor. So that's why we are requesting, or rather that's why it's designed to go with the 2/3. And by the way, let me educate you that if you even want a higher amount of pension, you don't have to take the 1/3. It is an option. You can actually put everything 100% to purchase an annuity, and you will end up taking home much more than if you took 1/3 as a lump sum and only 2/3 went there. But I'll leave that to the member education, where they will illustrate to you with figures. Now, the other issue is on preservation of assets. So my sister asked, why can't there be partial access for some of these retirement benefits? And I believe I touched on this in my presentation as one of the areas that we are looking at reviewing or amending the law. So, but I'll repeat. So what is happening is we currently, you can only access your retirement benefits in some scenarios when you're retiring or if you are ceasing membership of the scheme. You are leaving to go to another scheme. You've attained retirement age, then you will be paid. If you've not attained your retirement age, then you can only access 50%. The remaining should stay in a scheme arrangement. But we recognize that there are so many dynamics that lead to members being the dynamics that should enable members access these benefits to address certain life aspects. And what are these aspects? We are thinking education, medical, or emergencies. So there has been a proposal to introduce what are called sub-accounts, so that your scheme contributions will have a long-term portion and a short-term portion. That long-term portion you cannot touch until you qualify for retirement payments. And the short-term, then you can access pegged on certain conditions. It is called a two-pot system, and it is being advocated by various stakeholders in the industry, so that then people can get helped. We've had cases where somebody has money, but they can't access it because it is in the scheme, yet they have a sick child and they want to treat. So to be sensitive and to bring some flexibility, and then we are considering the aspect of two-pot. Two-pot then will say the short term you can access as long as you fulfill certain conditionalities. It will obviously affect your overall benefits that you take when you go home upon retirement. So what we are doing is we are currently doing some research on it to ensure that those proposals are feasible. Because at the end of the day, our promise, the spirit of our law is to ensure somebody retires with dignity. So at that point, but we are sensitive to these realities, and so we are looking at it. So when we come for public participation, please also participate, because these are changes that will have to be made in law. And so participate so that we also have your inputs. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chair. There's a member called Eddie, online, Eddie Mele. He was asking that on page 14, unfortunately it's referring to accounts 2023, but she was asking why there's a growth of from 2.1 billion to 7.3. And basically the reason is that in 2024, there was a good investment performance of around a gross return of around 20%, as opposed to the previous 2023 of around 0.8%. So that's the reason why there's that significant jump. So members, is there any other question? Because we are running short of time. Give to Wali. Wali. There's a lady there, and then there's a gentleman here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
So these are the last round of questions. Any other person? Any other lady? There's a lady there. So 2 ladies, 2 gentlemen. We close. Thank you. Wali.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to voice the concern of my brother, Mr. Lawi. I think it was not captured fully. He meant that if we are to go with the current trends, that government parastatals are going into partnership, will the 1/3 and the 2/3 being given by the employer be sustained if we go to that direction? I think that was what he meant. Second question, we are hearing about G2G. KPA on one hand is on the government side, and the affordable housing was on the other side, and it's been governed by the government. Would your account or whatever you have contributed guarantee you, if you are to decide to take a unit on the other side, that on your exit you are capable of paying that for that facility? Thank you.
So next. Fiona hapa. Simama jamani.
Good afternoon. My name is Fiona Mbandi, and I just wanted to ask a small question. The 35 billion is being invested in only cash and cash equivalents. And I thought RBA had a regulation that some of the money should be invested in fixed assets. Not to go the way of DB, but I believe that with the kind of uncertainties of life, like the way we had closure of the strait and so forth, cash and cash equivalents can also be very risky. So I'm asking, how are we looking into that in the near future? The other thing I think is very good that we have a board which will go for 5 years, because that gives a chance for them to implement what they have planned up to completion, other than the very short terms where they are not able to complete, and by the time they come a different team, they have different ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, members. My name is Joseph Wanakai, and I have 2 questions whereby I just want an explanation to these 2 questions. One, on page 47, kindly can you explain more about these returns, whereby you say registered 18.24 or 18.24% was for registered funds, and 18.48 or 48 was for unregistered funds. Does it mean that the scheme registered more than 18.24%, or actually is it 36% or 18.24%? Question number 2, I would like the scheme to explain something here, whereby in the case of you exit the scheme, either through dates, this now is through dates, while you are still active in service. They said the insurance can pay the dependents your basic salary 5 times your basic salary. Does it mean that when the member has maybe the saving of about 10 million and his basic salary is 98,000, after being paid that 5 times your salary, how about the savings of 10 million? Thank you.
Thank you so much. My sister.
Habari zenyu. Naitwa Dana Celestine. My question is on the pre-retirement training to the scheme. Do you have any modalities in knowing if a person has attended or not attended the training to avoid a repeat of the same members?
Thank you so much. You can continue answering.
Thank you. I think I can start with the question of Celestine. Yes, indeed, the scheme has all its records for members. So we know who has attended and those who have not attended. But again, to it is that the responsibility of releasing employees sits with the employer. As a scheme or as the Board of Trustees, they do provide a list of members who have not been trained to the employer for them to select from that list who can attend such trainings. So the scheme has modalities of knowing who has been trained and who has not been trained. But as to question who attends the next training is a prerogative of the employer. But in the event that you would really wish to attend, you can always engage your trustees so that we see how we can be able to liaise with the appointing authorities so that we're able to be slotted in our next available pre-retirement training. The question from Joseph is that there was a concern that if you die, you are paid 5 times of your salary. It's actually you have 5 times your annual basic salary. So what happens about the millions of shillings you've saved in the scheme? Both, unfortunately, will be paid to your beneficiaries. So the 10 million shillings will be paid to your beneficiaries nominated by yourself according to the scheme rules. That is the funds or the monies in the scheme. And in the event you have not nominated, then the trustees will take a discretion on the same. The 5 times annual salary will also be paid to you on fulfilling one condition. Not to you, sorry. To your family or dependents, on them fulfilling a condition of providing a certificate of grant, which has been confirmed, and that's when KPA can release those benefits to your dependents. The benefits of 5 times salary is not administered by the trustees, but it is fully administered by the employer. The 10 million shillings that you've referenced to is fully administered by the trustees. So the good news is that both benefits will be paid out. The bad news, it will not be paid to you. On page 47, you've mentioned about the 18.2% or 18.24 and 18.48. You're asking yourself whether the scheme earned a return of 36% or what is this? That's a good concern. Yes, indeed the scheme did not earn a return of 36, but it earned a return of 18. The only difference is that if you look at your statement, it is divided into 2 sections according to how they are registered as per the Income Tax Act. So there's a registered part of your statement and there is an unregistered part of your statement. But both investments, both funds on both sides are invested together. So it is one and the same thing, and the return earned is 18%. Do not add both, no. It's just that single 18%. 18.4, 18.2. Fiona said that we have only invested in cash and cash equivalents. So you're asking the Board of Trustees, what is the diversification strategy to diversify these investments? I think if you look at the reports keenly, cash and cash equivalents is a single asset class, but the Board of Trustees have taken initiative in investing in government securities, government bonds, treasury bills, listed and unlisted equities, offshore investments, approved or guaranteed investments, and in the current year, in 2026, the Board of Trustees have also made a decision to invest in alternative investments. They have made a decision to invest in what you call real estate investment trusts, a private equity fund, and a property fund. Not in a manner that the way you had actually said, we don't need to buy houses or land like the other fund. So this board has taken an initiative of getting into property, but in form of units. So the scheme has a property exposure, but not in, immovable property like this, but in form of what you call the REITs, real estate investment trusts, and property fund trusts. So that gives us an exposure on the property asset class. So where we sit, or where the board sits, indeed, looking at the future, the portfolio of the fund will be highly diversified to be able to withstand any shocks that may arise, like the one you've alluded to on the Strait of Hormuz, which is famous at the moment. So that is what I would comment on that, and thank you for the comment to the Board of Trustees. The question from Wali was that, will our pension guarantee a house in retirement? No. But the provisions under regulations, there's some mortgage regulations 2009, allows you to use your pension, up to 60% of your pension as a collateral The word there is as a collateral to either buy land or a mortgage, as long as it's a residential house. But the key thing there is the funds in the scheme is used as a collateral, so it doesn't get out of the scheme. In 2018, there were regulations which are a bit favorable to members, where you were allowed to take 40% and buy a house. But those regulations were since suspended by the courts of law in this country. Then the question that you've clarified for Lawrence is, in the event there are changes in these partnerships in the government agencies, what will happen to our pension schemes? I think it is important to underscore that pension scheme like this of yours is set up as an independent entity. It's a registered scheme, and it operates independently. The only time that this scheme can withstand pressure is when there'll be no people coming in. You see the way DB scheme is going. So in the event KPA goes to where it wants to go in future, and there'll be no more joiners, so it means the people who are remaining are the ones going to get their benefits until they exit. But what I can guarantee you is that in case of changes, in case KPA mutates to be something else, your benefits as members are ring-fenced. So, and that's why we have the regulator in all our forums. We are being audited, and the beauty about it is that, you know, scheme funds are actually not with KPA. They are held by your custodian here, and they are registered in the name of the scheme, not in the name of anybody else, in the name of the scheme. So in case of any mutations, if KPA mutates to something else tomorrow, what the Board of Trustees assures you is that your benefits are ring-fenced and your benefits will be payable to you or your beneficiaries in case of your demise. So, Chair, I think those are the concerns that members raised, although there are members online asking whether they can be paid money for being online, so for data. But nonetheless, I think those are the clarifications that the Board of Trustees have given you, and I hope we've been able to give justice to all the questions. Sindio? So thank you so much, and God bless you. Makofi kwangu basi. Yeah. So I think where we are now, we've come to the end, but allow me, through the chair, to give my trustees an opportunity to say a word. Not all, some of them, because of time. So I will start with Trustee Dolores. Trustee Emma, yes. Trustee Emma decided to, because she's the eldest, she's a long-term serving trustee. Yeah, so she wants to say a word of bye to you people. Karibu.
Bado uko na swali? Yeah, tosha. Okay.
Tosha.
I am told to breathe in and out. Thank you, trustee. So to our chairman, DC scheme, trustees of DC scheme, trustees of DB scheme, our MC, Michael guests, honorable members, good afternoon. Muko wazima. Thank you. I'm actually honored to stand in front of you here today. I am happy. I am happy because this is my last DC AGM that I am attending as a trustee. But before I give out my vote of thanks, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome my trustees, waseme a word or two, then I'll proceed with the vote of thanks. And I'll start with Trustee Tawala. Kindly
very important.
Come.
Very, very important.
Jambo members. Kazi imefanyika, haijafanyika?
Imefanyika.
Sawa, mimi nitakuwa na machache, muda umeenda. Yangu ni kushukuru sana mwanzo kwa kujitokeza kwa siku ya leo, kwa hii AGM ya leo. Mengi naona tayari yamesemwa. Tumeona growth ambayo scheme imekuwa nayo 18%. Mambo imekuwa mentioned about some products that are also at the scheme, voluntary additional contribution, post-medical retirement scheme, na mengi yale ambayo yamesemwa. Kwangu mimi binafsi kama trustee wenu mliemchagua na trustee, the board of trustees that is here, tunashukuru pia support ambayo inatoka kwenu kama members wa scheme. Kwa sababu bila ile support and the confidence that you have in us, hatuwezi kufikisha scheme pali tumeifikisha kwa sasa hivi. Yangu nasema kuwa tuzidi kushikana mikono, sisi kama elected trustees, Trustee Dolores, Trustee Emma ambaye kwa siku ya leo anawaga, sote tutafanya kazi kwa pamoja kuboresha skimu yetu zaidi. Nafikiri kwa sababu ya muda nitasema hayo tu, nikisema asanteni sana.
Trustee Tawa tano tena, si ndio? Sawa sawa. Trustee Dolores, kindly come and say a word.
Tembea pole pole, madam.
Hamjambo, mandugu zangu Waislamu, assalamu alaikum. Asanteni sana. To my chairman, the board of trustees, to my fellow trustees in DB, na members wetu, hamjambo. Langu la kwanza ni kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu. Imechukua kibali ya Mungu sisi kufanya AGM yetu leo tukiwa hai na roho zetu zikiwa sawa. Kwa hivyo langu la kwanza ni kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu. La pili ni kushukuru nyinyi members. Bila nyinyi kuwa hapa hatuongeza kufanya AGM. Kwa hivyo mjipigie makofi. Wale ambao wamefikisha mpaka sasa tunawashukuru sana. To online members also tunawashukuru sana. Manake hili ni gurudumu letu sote kwa pamoja, si ndio? Kila mtu ataondoka KPA, lakini tutaondoka vipi? Lazima tujipange na tuelekeze pension yetu ili tuweze kuwa watu ambao wanaheshimika baadaye. Ningependa kusisitiza mambo ambayo yamesemwa hapa. Products zetu ambazo tumewaletea members, tafadhalini. Let's enroll in our products. Moja ya matibabu. Tumesema mambo ya matibabu, MD amesisitiza tafadhalini. Sasa hivi tuna watu kidogo wamejoin PRMF, but you all members to on board. Kesho ukitoka KPA umeweza kujipanga kimatibabu. Nyingine ni mambo ya kuongeza nyongeza yetu ya savings ya pension. Inaitwa additional voluntary contribution. Nasisitiza pia tuweze kuchukua forms, tujaze na tuweze kupeleka gurudumu letu mbele tukitengeneza mambo yetu ya baadaye. Ya mwisho, ningependa kuwashukuru. Bila sisi kushirikiana na nyinyi, hiyo 18.24 hatungeweza kupata. Lakini kwa sababu ya ushirikiano wetu na members, tumeweza kupeleka gurudumu letu kama trustees mbele na tukaweza kufanikiwa kwa 18.24. Kwa hivyo mimi nawashukuru sana. Tuzidi kushirikiana, tuzidi kuboresha hili scheme letu, manake ni letu sote. Kwa hivyo Mungu awabariki na tunawapenda sana. Asanteni.
Thank you so much, Trustee Dolores. So, two-term Trustee Dolores, ndio? Sawa. So, allow me to just read my speech briefly. Good afternoon once again. So today I stand before you with a grateful heart for the privilege of having served you as a trustee. My journey as a DC trustee is coming to an end in the next 4 months. We're having elections in October. So by October 29th, I will be no longer a DC trustee. Mtakuwa mmechagua trustee mwenye mnataka. So being entrusted with the responsibility of safeguarding the savings and future of thousands of families is not a small task, and I have never taken that for granted. Once again, thank you so much, members. Every decision I made was guided by one principle: to protect the interest of our members. And I say our members, including me and the trustees that are seated there, because they are also members of the scheme. It has not always been easy, because many a times choosing between making the right decision and a populist decision is not easy. Sisi our member nominated trustee hawajui the pain we go through. Kama saizi kuna moja amesema wakikuja AGM wenye wamekaa wapewe pesa zaidi kushinda wenye wamechukua kitabu wakaenda. Wenye wamechukua kitabu wakaenda wakisikia hawajalipwa na wamesign. Na ni kura zetu hizo, si ndio? But now we have to make a populist decision. Kwa sababu unataka ufurahishe member, atakwambia umekula pesa yake na pesa yake pia kuna pali umekula. But I wanted care. Bwana care yuko wapi wa RBA? Kuna member alikuwa anasema wanataka waongezee transport allowance. Tungewaambia members wetu kwa there is nothing like that. RBA does not even allow payment hata shilingi. Sisi tunasema tupeane lunch badala ya kupika pilau na biriani tuwaletee hapa. Tunasema ile pesa tugawe kidogo kidogo members wapate kitu. So tuwe tu watu wenye wana shukrani kidogo tu pia. Sawa? Okay. So behind every pension contribution, I say there is a parent that is planning for retirement, and I guess you are all parents. There is a child depending on that pension tomorrow. And there is a family that is believing that this scheme will keep its promise. That promise became my responsibility together with my fellow trustees. So once again, I'll still say thank you for the opportunity, for your trust, for your support, for your confidence. I sincerely thank you. Asanteni. So people have always asked me, what have you achieved in your term as a TC trustee? And I say, you cannot achieve anything at the scheme as an individual. Na ninarudia, as a trustee, there is no way I can achieve anything as a person. And that's why munaambiwa mchague trustees watatu, na sponsor pia anachagua watatu wenye wako na skills tofauti tofauti. Na sisi pia tulipokuja kwa ground, muliona tuko na skills tofauti tofauti, ndio maana mlituchagua. So there is something that I have that Dolores does not have, there is something that Dolores has that Tower does not. So tukikaa pale kwa board, tunasaidiana kimawazo, tuna ensure that tuna make the right decision yenye inasaidia members wote na pia sisi wenyewe. And I will tell you, I'll give you an example of DB. Kwa DB kuna trustees waliokuwa kitambo wali make some populist decisions zenye zinafurahisha members at that particular time, and I can tell you it is eating them down. So sometimes tukikuja kwenu wakati wa member education tukiwaelimisha, tunawaomba tu mufungue roho zenu, mujue we have your interest at heart, because sisi pia ni members. So maybe just to conclude or to give a summary, I want to appreciate that when I joined the scheme, pension scheme was a department of KPA. I hope you're all aware before the delinking. So when we came in, the delinking had just happened. So tumeingia hapo, mumetupigia kura, hatuna idea of what should be happening. So it has been a long journey. And for that matter, allow me to appreciate our CEO, Mr. Kibet. Bernard Kibet, wapi wewe? Mr. Kibet na team yake, we have a team of expertise at the scheme. Hawa vijana wanajielewa, hawa vijana wamesoma, they have the requisite qualification, and they have done us so proud. If we don't take this opportunity kuwashukuru, tutakuwa ni watu wenye hatuna shukurani, kwa sababu walikuja kama tuko analog. Tukuwa nakumbuka kuna watu wakiretire wanapeleka forms huko. Saizi everything has been automated. They have done a good job at the scheme, I will tell you. Hata nyinyi pia mkiona, si mnaona tu tofauti ya what used to happen before and what is currently happening. Secondly, allow me to also appreciate our journey by kusema kuwa tulikuja na member portal. Ni nani anajua kuwa tuko na portal ya pension hapa? Unajua there is what a trustee can do, and there is also what you as a member unafaa kufanya. Tulizunguka portal nzima, tukawaambia tuko na member portal, tukaonyesha how to register, and ninawaomba please log into those portals. Muangalie your contribution, angalia contribution ya sponsor, angalia tangu kupate PNP. Kama uliajiriwa like 10 or 20 years ago, utaweza kuona ni contribution every year umecontribute pesa ngapi na interest ni pesa ngapi. So we've made our system at the scheme very simple and easy for all of us. Again, another thing that I also want to appreciate is the pre-retirement training that has been ongoing. Tumekuwa tunafundisha watu wenye wako 50 years and above, na kila tukiwafundisha at the end of the training tunawauliza watupatie maoni on how we can make that training much better than the way it is. Now most of them walituambia wanaomba tulete hao vijana wetu who are 40 and below, because preparing for retirement does not start when you're exiting, but it starts when umepata ile barua yako ya employment. So naona kwa hizo mitandao, those who are 50 and above wana complain, oh, kwa nini mumeweka vijana wadogo? Everyone has an equal right as long as you're a member of the scheme. You have a right to attend that training. Wakati tunafundisha those who are 40 and below, they have the equal right ya kufundishwa the same way when you're 50 and above. And I would like to say that each member will have an opportunity to be trained, irrespective of your age, your department, your grade. Simona pale tukiitisha watu wakuje for training, hatusemi huyu ni principal, huyu ni doka. Tunapeana tu check number yako na miaka yako. So what we have tailor-made is for members who are 40 and below, training that itawasaidia, na pia wenye wako 50 and above, tunawatengenezea training kulingana na age yao. That is the only difference in tuko now when it comes to retirement training. Another one is member education that we have done over time, huwa tunazunguka, and I think in the next 1 or 2 months tutazunguka tena kuwafundisha kila department, na tunapatianga members wetu nafasi watupatie pia maoni. We do not have monopoly of knowledge. Tunapenda pia mkitupatia maoni on how we can improve our pension scheme. Lakini hata mkitupatia maoni, we have the discretion of making the best decision that inasaidia watu wote. So lastly, I would also like to say that tulipewa, nimesikia kila mtu amesimama hapa akisema 5 term, 2 term, 3 term. I would tell you, sheria imeturuhusu kukaa kwa pension scheme to amend our TDR to baki for 5 years. Na sisi ni wafanyakazi wa KPA, tulipokuwa tunazunguka tuliwaambia tunaenda for 3 years, because at that particular time sheria ilikuwa haijaruhusu 5 years. I'll tell you, our sister schemes wameamend TDR zao na wameamend another 2 years waweze kubaki kwa scheme wa serve. But sisi tulikaa kwa mkutano wetu tukasema watu wetu walituamini na miaka mingapi? 3. And we believe in democracy. Because democracy ndio inapatia members nafasi na nguvu pia kufanya nini? Make that decision yao vile hao wanataka. Tukasema badala ya kuamend TDR to favor sisi wenye tuko ofisi, watu warudi uwanjani. Otherwise tungeamend, tungekuwa tumebaki na Trustee Violet na Malumbo. Hata mimi pia ningekuwa nimebaki kwa ofisi, lakini tulisema hiyo hatuwezi fanya. So just to thank you so much. I am sorry. Yeah. So just to finalize on my vote of thanks, I would wish to say that kila pahali kuna shida, hata kwa nyumba zetu pia kuna shida, si ndio? So at the scheme we've also been having few challenges, 1 or 2, and I'll start na ya kwanza ni regulator. Tuko na members wetu wenye walifutwa kazi sababu ya fake certificate. Si mnawajua? We have members who have served KPA for over 20 years. I think on their 21st year, mtu anawadanganya kuja ni kutengenezee certificate upate HM1 ama HM2, na wameenda nyumbani. Na ningependa kuwakumbusha kama haujui, ni kwa kama umefutwa kazi KPA sababu ya fake certificate, we don't give you even a shilling at the scheme. It is not us, it is the law that has given that provision. Tumefungwa. Majority of our friends, they keep calling us, wanatuambia unaweza kutusaidia aje. Hapo hatuwezi kukusaidia. Na hata kama kuna mmoja wenu mwenye amekaa hapa na unajua kuna makaratasi haiko sawa, kuna pahali huwezi saidika. Not even the MD can make a call to trustee aseme pesa ilipwe. No, it cannot happen. So it's just important that I inform you. Secondly, another one is the regulatory changes. Kila kukikucha kuna changes kwa industry. Sisi tukiingia kwa scheme tungeweza kwenda training hata 4, hata 5. Wenye wanataka kuvai for trusteeship, kujeni mjue kwa ground mambo ni tofauti. Yeah, we are only allowed to attend 1 training. So ukikuja unaenda TDPK, now that itakuwa ni 5 years, una attend TDPK and 1 local training tosha. So the reason why I'm saying this is ninawaomba, when that time of election imefika, tusichague tu watu for the sake because they are popular. Please dig deep. Si mmesikia sasa tunafika 42B. So in the next 1 or 2 years tutakuwa tunaelekea 50-60. So kindly take your time, reflect on the kind of leadership that you want at the scheme. So maybe just to end my speech, nisiwabo sana, allow me to say that pension is more than money. It is a promise. A promise that after decades of service, retirement should bring dignity instead of anxiety. A promise that your family will be protected when you are no longer here. It's a promise that tomorrow will secure because yesterday you chose to save. That promise must not be broken. I have fought to protect it, and I now ask those who remain at the scheme to continue protecting it so that we live, even as they leave the board, they must ensure that they protect that integrity. So as I conclude, I leave this office with peace in my heart, not because every challenge has been resolved, but because I know the scheme is stronger than the day I found it. The scheme is larger. I joined the scheme when it was at 11.4. We are currently talking about 40 plus B. More importantly, there is transparency at the scheme. Kila kitu kiko wazi. Muone hiyo booklet, hakuna kitu kimefichwa. Our audited accounts, member information, kila kitu kiko hapo. Mkitaka information kwa scheme, hata mkienda Cannon Towers, what a trustee will tell you is what our secretariat will tell you. Another thing is we are leaving the scheme more trusted because tuko na scandal kweli kwa DC. Umesikia kuna shida yote kwa DC? Hatuna scandal yote. Yeah, so the only case that we had ya Kikambala tulimaliza na pesa ilirudi kwa scheme. So to my fellow trustees, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for the dedication and the teamwork that we've had. I don't take it for granted, and I'll tell you, I have been at the scheme for 5+ years. And we have a good team. We really have a good team. Ninaomba tu, kama wakirudi wanataka kuserve, give them an opportunity to finish what they have started. To the secretariat, allow me to say it again. This scheme would not have been where it is without you. You guys have done a wonderful job. Sina kitu cha kuwalipa other than kuwaombea tu. Mungu wabariki. Na pia ikiwezekana scheme igrow ndo pia tuweze kuongeza mshahara, si ndio? They have done a wonderful job. Yeah. And again, and lastly, I also want to say thank you to you members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The only request that I have for you is please be responsible members. I know tuko hapa tunatafuta kura, tunataka mutupende, but also allow your trustees, even if it is not, wawaambie ukweli. Be responsible. Mkikuja musiseme, angalieni mbele, musifikirie ya leo tu, sawa? Sifikirie leo tunataka tukule pesa yetu tuende nyumbani. Then what is the purpose of the pension scheme? If we want our money, then there is no need of having a pension scheme. Tulipo mshahara tuende nyumbani, si ndio? We have to save because nobody knows about tomorrow. Kesho itakuwa hauna nafasi ya kukimbia kwa MD kuomba trip. Hauna nafasi ya kwenda kwa boss wako kuomba safari, kuomba chochote. What you have is what you have saved today. So mimi ninaomba to let's love our pension. Watu wenye wanakuja wakichukua pesa na there are people who are complaining, jana sijui walikuja DB hawakulipwa pesa. Trust me, sometimes I want to sympathize, but I also don't want to sympathize with some people because what is the purpose of an AGM? Kwa nini sisi tunapanga hii AGM tumepanga for 2 months for someone to just come and sign alafu anipigie simu anataka pesa? No. Trust me, trustees, in as much as tunataka kura, I think we need to find a way of managing this so that either members wakuje kwa mkutano ama we have an online meeting, watu wasisumbuane. Kupanga wewe kwako ukikuwa na wageni, si kupanga nini? Ukitarajia again is not easy. Yeah, so please also give us an ample time. Kama tumwambia mkuje GM, mkuje pre-retirement training, mkuje member education, mujitume na nyinyi. Otherwise sina mengi ya kusema. God bless our scheme. God bless you members, muweze kuishi miaka mingi so that mretire with dignity na pesa mzuri. God bless our trustees, ninawapenda sana.
Aya. Jamani, roho yangu inasema Violet Mugambi amalize na maombi. Nani ako na mimi kwa hiyo maneno? Madam Violet, ile maombi usiseme na Kiswahili, Kiingereza kidogo mami. Leo wewe ni mama kweli.
Ngesa, asante sana kwa nafasi. Amesema nifanye maombi Kiingereza na mimi huwa si mzuri sana kwa Kiingereza. Kwa hivyo nitaomba kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Lakini kabla maombi ningependa kusema ya kwamba hata mimi na trustee Malumbo pia. Kuna trustees wa DB DC hapa. Wale wako DB DC. Basi wale trustees wa DBDC kwa niaba ya trustee Malumbo na niaba yangu, wacha niseme tu ya kwamba tunawaaga. Ama mnataka kusikia sauti ya Malumbo? Mnataka kusikia sauti ya Malumbo? Daktari, 1 minute. Administrator, turuhusu tu kidogo tuweze kuaga members wetu.
Asanteni, niwasalimie. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Asalamu alaikum. Natumai nyote mnifahamu. Mimi ndiye yule Malumbo, daktari wa hardware ya pale Bandari Clinic, nikiwa nimestaafu, na huu ni wakati wangu wa mwisho, muhula wangu wa mwisho. Naelekea kule nyumbani nikaenda kufanya ile ambayo naifahamu vyema ya kuhudumia watu wangu. Na niwashukuru kwa imani yenu kwangu, kwa sababu si kazi rahisi. Huko DB si kazi rahisi, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu ametupatia ile heri ya kustahamili na kufocus kwamba hawa wazee ni lazima tukasimame nao na mahitaji yao tukatimize sawa sana vile inavyohitajika. Na niseme kwamba namshukuru sponsor Captain Ruto na bodi yake na DB membership wa board of directors wa scheme, hata na hao wenzetu pia kwa michango yao, kwamba tukaweze kuleta vichwa pamoja na tukafanikiwe. Kwa hivyo sina mengi ya kusema. Naombea kila laheri. Retirement life is just as good as, simnaniona vile niko. Kwa hivyo naamini kwamba msiwe na hofu. Tuzingatie haya ambayo tumeambiwa hapa, tukijua kwamba kule mbele kuna Mungu. Sisi manake tunaweza kuyapanga, lakini Mungu mwenyewe ndiye mwenye kutuwezesha. Mkabaki na amani na Mungu awabariki. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana Trustee Malumbo. Nami mniruhusu niseme ya kwamba ni asante sana kwenu kama members wa DB kwa kunipatia nafasi kuwafanyia kazi kwa muhula wa miaka 5.5 sasa, naelekea miaka 6. Asanteni sana. Mnapoenda katika uchaguzi, tumepewa mawaidha kwa MD ametuambia tuchague viongozi ambao watasukuma gurudumu mbele. Nami wacha niongezee kuambia kwamba mchague viongozi ambao watakuwa ni viongozi hakika, ambao watahakikisha ya kwamba wanaangalia maslahi yenu kama members. Nimesikia mkisema 5 tena, mmesema tawala 5 tena, mmesema Dolores 5 tena, mmesema trustee mnamhamisha kutoka DC mnampeleka DB. Kuna mama yetu hapa Susan, mama mlezi. Sawa, kuna mama yetu Susan, mama mlezi, nimeambiwa nimpatie nafasi pia wasalimie. Wacha nimpatie nafasi kabla sijafanya maombi ya mwisho. Karibu mama mlezi.
Shukran dada Mugambi. Ndugu zangu Waislamu, assalamu alaikum. Na Wakristo, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kwa majina ni mama Susan Leli, ama mama mlezi, ama Ansu, yote ni yangu. Nichukue jukumu hili la kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kibali ya kuwa hapa siku ya leo, na yale yote pia tumepata kwa mkurugenzi wetu mkuu. Pia tuampa shukran na pongezi. Na kwanza sisi ambaye tumekaa mpaka muda huu pia tujipigie makofi. Wenzetu wamekuja na wakaona haya mazuri yanayozungumzwa hapa, wakaondoka, pengine wanaangalia kwenye mtandao. Kwa hivyo tuwapatie nafasi, na mimi yangu zaidi ni kuwashukuru kwa ule muda mlinipatia nikawatumikia. Huu ni mwaka wa 3, na kwa matumaini yangu nilikuwa naona hiyo 3 yatosha, lakini bado sijaamua, lakini wenzangu wananiambia niendelee. Sisi kwetu, sisi sote hapa tuna wazee wetu nyumbani, ambaye sana sana kama vile dadangu amesema hapa, kutumikia wazee ni kazi kubwa sana sana sana. Ama nyinyi hamjui? Simlisikia mkutano wa juzi? Wana maswali na shida chungu nzima. Kwa hivyo ningewaomba maswali mengi ambayo wanawauliza muwaelezee, ama muongoze kuingia tovuti ya scheme KPA pension website, muwaelezee yale maswali mengi wanauliza yako kwa hiyo tovuti, ndio wapunguze maswali na mtafaruku. Wana mambo mengi sana wazee. Kwa hivyo vile ni wazee wetu tunawaelezea, lakini nyinyi pia mkipata nafasi pia muwaelezee, mfanye kazi yetu rahisi. Shukran sana, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki. Thank you.
Tumuongezee makofi mama mlezi. Asante. Sitaki kurudia ile trustee amesema, lakini ni kwamba secretariat yetu imefanya kazi mzuri sana. Tuwapigie makofi ya watoto. They are a wonderful team. Kitu trustee amesahau kusema ni kwamba wakati akiomba elections in 2021 alikuwa akiambiwa kitu, anaenda mahali anajifungia analia. Lakini saizi hata ukamwambia nini, amemea sugu huyo mtoto, na nyinyi ndio mmemkuza. Kwa hivyo tumesema, maoni yangu, tayari tuko na matrustees wawili wa DC hapa, tuko na wawili wa DB hapa. Mungu akipenda, mkitafuta wengine wawili mkiwaongezea, kazi itaendelea vizuri. Naomba tusimame, tuamini na tuombe. Mfalme wa mbingu na nchi, Baba unaishi na kutawala, tunanyenyekea katika kiti chako cha enzi masaa ya mchana, tukisema ni asante kwa ajili ya wema na fadhili zako kwetu. Tunashukuru ya kwamba ulitupatia kibali cha kuweza kuongoza pension scheme kwa ule muda ambao tumesema ni muda wa elekea miaka 6 sasa. Tunakushukuru mfalme ishe na kutawala, hata kwa ajili ya trustees, the nominated trustees, wamekuwa pia ni kiungo muhimu katika kazi hii. Tunakushukuru Mungu wetu kwa ajili ya secretariat, vijana wetu wadogo ambao Mungu umewabariki, walienda shule na wakasoma na wakahitimu, na wamekuwa ni kiungo cha maana zaidi katika ile skimu yetu. Mungu uishi na kutawala. Tunaomba pia tushukuru kwa ajili ya sponsor wetu KPA. Tunakushukuru ya kwamba ulitupatia kiongozi ambaye anatuelewa. Captain wetu William Ruto amekuwa ni wa karibu zaidi kwetu. Anapenda wafanyikazi wake wa KPA na anatupenda sisi trustees ambao tunafanya kazi pale katika pension scheme. Na kwa ajili hiyo Mungu wetu tunamleta mbele yako na tunamuombea ukazidi kumbariki kwa njia moja au nyingine kulingana na matakwa ya moyo wake. Tunakushukuru pia kwa ajili ya members wetu, kazidi kuwabariki. Waliona ni vyema watupatie nafasi ya kuweza kuwahudumia. Endelea kubariki kila mmoja na kila ambaye ako na hitaji, mfalme ishe na kutawala, nenda ukatimize hitaji lile. Tulipoanza mkutano huu, tulianza pamoja nawe. Tumeona mkono wako ukiwa pamoja nasi tangu tuanze hadi tamati, na tunasema ni asante. Nisisahau service providers wetu, Mungu ishe na kutawala, ambao wamekuwa wakitupatia advice ya maana kulingana na vile ambavyo tunaweza kupeleka scheme zetu hizi mbili mbele. Tunapotoka mahali hapa kuelekea makwetu, mfalme uishie, tunajua kwamba tunaenda kutumia vyombo ambavyo vimetengenezwa kwa mikono ya wanadamu. Tunaomba Mungu wetu ukaweze kuwa dereva. Kuna ndugu zetu wanaelekea Nairobi, kuna wengine wanaelekea pande mbalimbali, hata wale ambao wanatembea kutoka hapa kuelekea makwao, mfalme ishe na kutawala, tunaomba ukaweze kuwafikisha salama. Tuachane kimwili wakati huu, lakini kiroho tuwe pamoja, na tukumbukane kila wakati tukijua kwamba sisi ni viumbe wako na ulituweka hapa duniani kwa sababu. Jina lako lizidi kuinuliwa na kutukuzwa, maana wewe ni Mungu, na ni kupitia kwa jina la mwanawe Yesu Kristo tumeomba na hata kuamini. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Mbarikiwe.
Thank
you so much.